afternoon as we were all trying to get ready for the spring game. If you were out there tailgating like I was and you were trying to enjoy the afternoon, would have turned into a beautiful afternoon. You probably stay tuned into that. And then you walked over to Williams Bryce Stadium for an entertaining Saturday evening. Very good crowd, Patrick. Very good crowd. I know what attendance was announced, 20,146 or something in that matter. No, it was 35,000 easy. The lower bowl completely full. It was a very festive event. The Gamecock Walk looked absolutely phenomenal. It was a great time on Saturday evening. And as far as spring games go, Patrick, you try to hype them up. You try to make them something they really aren't. I mean, that's just count me in. Like Spencer, well, seeing Spencer Rattler was cool and everything. About 15 minutes in, I was like, all right, I've seen enough. There's just nothing. It's a spring game. It's what it is. What it is. But I think as much as they could do to kind of make it live up to the hype and keep you invested, I give a lot of credit to the athletic department on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in these days, you could just go full contact with both quarterbacks, just completely aggressive hitting, but that was as good as you can do. I mean, I don't know about the drills and stuff if people were entertained by that, but you can tell that they put a lot of effort into try and make it a enjoyable product for the fans, and I think they did as good of a job as you could. Featured pretty much everyone who you wanted to see featured. I would say that, in my opinion, Marshawn Lloyd was the standout performer of the spring game, and that was something that I wanted to come away saying, "Wow, he looks healthy," and I thought that was certainly the case for him. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to say that they accomplished everything that they needed to accomplish. No injuries. I didn't see any injuries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
no
major
major
injuries,
injuries,
minor
minor
bumps
bumps
and
and
bruises
bruises
coming
coming
out
out
of
of
the
the
spring. A
spring. A
couple of
couple
people
people
didn't
didn't
play
play
who
who
were,
were,
maybe maybe you kind of wanted to see how they would fit in. EJ Jenkins, Jaheim Bell, how they would fit in.
Stogner.
Stogner,
Stogner.
well, I mean, he wasn't injured, obviously, but wasn't a part of the program or isn't a part of the program just yet. But by and large, I'm with you. Look, again, they're neat. In theory, was it Thursday, Friday, Patrick? We got pretty excited about the spring game, and we were ready to I guess really have a blast and really enjoy it. But then you really get going there, and I think that's kind of how mine went. Is as the spring game really gets going, you're like, oh, okay, that's right. The outcome here really doesn't matter, and there's only so much you're going to learn from it. But as you mentioned, Marshawn Lloyd, I thought he was a takeaway on Saturday night, and you know, I'm not going to sit here. We watched highlight film, right? We watched highlight film of Marshawn Lloyd as a recruit coming out of DeMatha there and coming out of that area. And what you end up having is a kid who gets injured. We never really get to see live up to the potential, but some moves he made on Saturday night I thought were very good, and it looked like a guy.
The spin move behind the line of scrimmage,
Yeah,
on Roderick.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It looked like a guy who, with another few months of continuing to get comfortable on that knee and continuing to get back to where he was, it looks like a guy who can be a big part of the offense.
I think the whole kind of the whole running back room was impressive. I mean, Juju McDowell does such a good job breaking tackles for someone that's as small as he is. He must be just really strong. Like, I bet you would put up huge numbers in the weight room because he should go down much easier than he does, and he's going to make it hard to keep him off the field. And Christian Beal Smith, I mean, he is a load. Like, that is a big dude. He is strong, and he's yoked up too. So I think you come away from this as happy with the running back group as anything on the whole team.
Juju McDowell had 6 carries for 57 yards on Saturday night. He was the team's leading rusher. Christian Beal Smith had 5 carries for 18 yards. Marshawn Lloyd on the black team with Luke Doty had 8 carries for 42 yards. I think everybody got excited about DJ Twitty at the end of the game. Did you make it all the way? I know you were up in Maryland for Easter, so you were streaming it. But DJ Twitty coming in at the end and just being a bowling ball, 5 carries for 41 yards and just running over people got fans excited there. And that's kind of there's your spring game kind of hero, I guess. But a few other statistics. Spencer Rattler, 8 of 10 for 79 yards. Colton Gauthier, 8 of 15 for 36 yards. Luke Doty, 7 of 10 for 85 yards and a touchdown, Patrick. And you're right. You mentioned the running back room. I know, look, all this is subject to change as we get to see them against other opponents. But I think the quarterback room with Rattler and with Doty behind him and giving him a chance to develop, there's the quarterback room with those two, the running back room with McDowell, with Lloyd, with Beal Smith. You like where those two position groups are at going into 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Luke Doty looked healthy, and Spencer Rattler looked like exactly you couldn't really have asked for or expected more from him. I mean, he made a couple flash plays. I would say they're both down the left sideline. The one to Leggett was really nice ball, and then there was the one to Juice Wells where he was kind of breaking the pocket and scrambling. And I think initially on TV, Hudson Mason or Roy Philpott, I don't know which one it was, said that it was an interception, but no, he just dropped it right in a bucket for Juice Wells down the sideline. So he showed as much as you could possibly want. I mean, 8 for 10 is efficient, and they weren't going to put him in a position to not be efficient. And he faced some pressure. I mean, he wasn't live, but the defensive line was putting some work in. I think Zach Pickens was pushing the pocket quite a bit. So you're not going to ask for much more. I mean, you weren't. I don't know that Gauthier or Braden Davis made any plays that I come away from saying, okay, that's the next guy. But they're both young, they're both live, and the moment didn't really look too big for them either. So I think you're happy. I don't know that opinions changed because we were already pretty excited about the quarterback room, but maybe you come away a little bit more excited about Luke Doty and what he could do if Spencer Rattler needs rest, or it's a blowout, or if he gets hurt, or even if he just goes pro next year and you go into next season saying who's going to be our quarterback after 1 year of Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is right now is you feel like at the end of the day, this team is 7-6. And they fought with everything they had to get to 7-6. Let's not pretend this was a 9-4 team that is in contention for the SEC East right now. You want this team to make the steps forward. You want to see development in depth and to see development in player personnel. And I feel like that's at least what you take away from Saturday night. I don't know, we'll get way too excited. We'll make some wild predictions. I'm sure some people will start predicting 15-0 and all that between now and September 3rd or September 10th when they go to Arkansas. But the bottom line here is that South Carolina, you've got to get this team moving in the right direction. You got to continue. You can't 7 wins can't be the peak. Remember, Will Muschamp in his first year went 6-7. And a lot of people thought that was going to be a 3 or 4 win team. And Muschamp's team managed to gut out 6 victories. And they had Jake Bentley come in there at the end of the year and throw for a bunch of yards against South Florida in the Birmingham Bowl down in Birmingham. And everybody thought, oh, the next year really is going to take strides. And they did. They did go on to win 9 games in his second year against a weak schedule. But this team, I think what you wanted to see on Saturday night is kind of to your point. You want to see development. The numbers, we talked about it, the run game. There was probably nothing that the offensive line could really do, Patrick, to maybe impress you with running. 51 total running yards for both teams, 27 carries, 117 yards gained. They end up, there was 37. Spencer Rattler had, because of how they were doing the sacks, he was wearing the green jersey. He ended up with 17 yards, negative 17 yards rushing for him. But and also it was Colton Gauthier who ended up with negative 7 yards technically rushing for him. So you had some quarterback sacks because of the green jerseys. I know Gauthier didn't have a green jersey on, but what you ended up with was 51 carries for 167 total rushing yards. And that's not great. You'd like to get to 200, but I feel like you come out of that thing maybe being pleased with some development with the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, there were also some times where they could get a running start and run through a hole, and I don't think it was terrible. I think the defensive line made some good plays. I think Zach Pickens was a force, but I was taking note of who that starting group was and who would be the left tackle, and I saw Turntine on the second unit, so it was Jalen Nichols, Rashawn Lee, Eric Douglas, Javon Gwynn, and Tyshawn Wanamaker was that starting offensive line for the majority of the time. So yeah, I mean, I think your opinion. If there's any position where your opinion changed, I would be surprised based off last night. If you were concerned about the offensive line, you're probably going to look at the rushing numbers. You're going to look at a couple of sacks, and you're going to say that I'm still concerned about the offensive line. If you were saying It's an experienced unit. We brought them all back. They'll be better. They'll take a step forward. You'll look at some of those flash plays and you'll say, okay, well, we've got ourselves an experienced, better unit, and things will be a little bit smoother than they were last year. So it's going to be a work in progress. They're going to have to stay healthy all season long. I mean, it's not like if they play well against Georgia State and Arkansas, we say, okay, well, here we go, because injuries happen. There won't be continuity all season long, but you want to keep them as healthy as possible, and you want to keep that same 5 out there as much as possible. So it'll be an ongoing process throughout the entire season.
If you want to be a part of the program, we will certainly get into a lot of that this morning. We'll let you listen to a lot of audio as the game wrapped up semi-late on Saturday night, and there was a fireworks show afterwards. So we'll let you listen to a lot of what Shane Beamer had to say this morning in long form as it pertains to the spring game. We'll let you listen to some of the players and what they had to say in terms of South Carolina. Certainly just an interesting weekend. I'm with you, Patrick. Was there anything that changed your opinion of 2022? You kind of mentioned it. Like, did you see something from the wide receivers? Juice Wells looks like a very interesting player that maybe, you said you were already buying into the hype for Wells. It was a good night for him. 3 catches, 31 yards for Wells. He had a long of 16. But again, it wasn't like he went out and exploded, which I think you like, right? You would have felt bad if he had like 9 catches for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns and you had fans overhyping him now. But I think, to go back, was there anything on Saturday night that necessarily changed or enhanced your feelings for 2022? Because there wasn't anything. Like, I don't know what this team is going to necessarily be able to do in week 2 against Arkansas. It was a good spring game. You mentioned it. Nobody got hurt. Players looked new. There was still a lot of development to go, but they looked like they had made strides this spring. But there was nothing that changed my opinion from any prediction I would have had Friday morning to what I would make today.
No, I don't think so, but I don't know that on Friday, if we said who's going to be the leading rusher for South Carolina this year, I would have been overly confident in any answer. After the spring game, I would place my money on Marshawn Lloyd. Like, okay. I think the health of him, he looked quick. He made a couple really explosive cuts. That spin move behind the line of scrimmage, he's running through people. I think he looks very healthy. And as far as Juice Wells and some of the new guys, half of the fun of the spring game is just seeing them in the jersey. Like, that's kind of what I wanted to see. And you can see that Juice Wells out there with the high cut jersey, showing the 6-pack, and a lot of the guys doing that, and just seeing new players, see if anybody looks any different than they did last year. Maybe a freshman, see if he looks a little more jacked or put on some weight or anything like that. And it's hard. You can't 100% tell what Juice Wells is going to look like on that field just by looking at his JMU highlights. So I just wanted to more get a look at him, and they featured him on the first play of the game. So obviously he's going to be a big part of the offense, but that was to be expected. So if I had to say that something changed, it would be the health of Marshawn Lloyd. But all that game really did was cement that I think he's going to have a big year, and I think it's pretty clear that Juice Wells is going to be a key part of this group.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. You can do so on the Buford Lending live stream as well, where with Decord, Jerry, Anthony, David, LeVar, Robin, Travis, Kirby, all up and at it with us this morning. Travis says one cool moment Saturday was the family in front of us. The mom told my kids to help her cheer for her son if he gets in the game. He got in and got an interception. Number 43, Burns. Pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. Kirby weighing in on the Buford Lending live stream this morning. Good morning, guys. And Jen, great Gamecock weekend all the way around. And yeah, Patrick, that's the other story for South Carolina of the weekend. Baseball. Oh, they get just railed on Thursday night after we were over there at Founders Park, 9-1. But Friday night, they bounce back. They win 4-2. And then Saturday, they're cruising along until the 9th inning. Just decide, hey, you know what? People might be heading over to the spring game. Let's make it more interesting and keep people here. They hold on to win in the 9th, 9-8. And a prediction that you took that ends up not being true. They get back above 500, 18-17 on the season there, the halfway point of conference play. They're 6-9. They'll have a game this week against Winthrop before heading to Auburn. They'll go to Winthrop and Rock Hill on Wednesday night, and then they'll just head on down to the Plains on Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Auburn. But this is a team again. I'll give them. They're interesting. They don't give you a dull moment. They like to keep things very interesting. They like to show you some really bad baseball, and then they like to bounce back and show you some really good baseball. Inconsistency, kind of the motto of this team this year.
Yeah, and I mean, we keep saying they have these big series wins, and it's like, okay, well, do you have a chance to turn this into legitimate momentum? And maybe they do. I don't know if they just play well against better teams or what it is, but obviously Ole Miss is struggling right now. They were incredible a couple weeks ago and have been faltering down the stretch. But I mean, you're going to the road next week, and you're not good. You're not good away from Founders Park, but you're playing a 24-12 Auburn team next week, and then you've got a 23-14 Alabama team the week after that. So when you say it's the SEC, there's not going to be an easy series. That is certainly the case, but these are two winnable series coming up against those two Alabama teams. You can, if you play good baseball, win those series, and you got a midweek game at Winthrop. So I don't know.
I don't know. There's no point trying. It's like,
yeah,
it's kind of like the spring game. There's no, whatever happened this weekend, you enjoy and you celebrate. There's no point in taking anything away from it because you don't know what's going to happen with this team moving forward. But as I said, you just kind of take what happened over the weekend, and
you're just fighting for next weekend. Fighting, fighting to keep your season alive next weekend is basically the motto of this team right now.
That's kind of all you can do at this point is just say, hey, good weekend there. All right, let's see what happens moving forward. That's really the only way you can take it. So a lot of football this morning, a lot of baseball. Elsewhere around the weekend, it was the start of the NBA playoffs. Patrick, it was Easter weekend. The Heritage, fantastic finish down there at the RBC Heritage yesterday. Patrick Cantlay and Jordan Spieth in a playoff. Jordan Spieth wins. Second year in a row. I don't know if y'all saw that, Jen, Patrick. Second year in a row that Jordan Spieth wins a golf tournament on Easter Sunday. Last year it was the Valero Texas Open. This year it was Jordan Spieth, and
he's going to win. He's going to win the Masters next year because isn't the Masters on Easter Sunday?
Is it on? I don't know if the official PGA Tour schedule is out and for 2023
if it is, Jordan Spieth is going to have to win.
Did you guys see? Neither of y'all probably. There was a lot going on yesterday, obviously with Easter. Jen, I think you were on the golf course with the family hanging out. Was that yesterday that you were out there? So
got good and burned.
I would just like to see. I doubt any of y'all saw it, but the Jordan Spieth's wife was so excited. She comes running out onto the green to celebrate, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way she was acting, I think it was the first victory he had with a newborn son, and it would be a video for how you do not carry a boy. Like, she's running and she's holding him, but he's bouncing
right
up and down.
I did see that.
And his head is just, and he's screaming, crying.
My mother-in-law was freaking out. She's like, "That's careful."
I was like, get the baby. Some other family member, get the baby out of her arms. He's going to go into the sound out there if we're not careful. So, really, really good yesterday. Hopefully, y'all both had good Easters. Patrick is up in Maryland this morning with family. Jen and I are back in here. Everybody have a very good Easter over the weekend. Patrick, good food, good family.
Yeah. So Saturday was a long day. I left 4 a.m. on Saturday and got here at about lunchtime. Went to a little wedding shower on Saturday night. That was a lot of fun. And yesterday was went to a really nice brunch in downtown area over here, and came back, took a quick nap, and then went over to my grandparents' house. So very, very good day. And
Jen, all good on the golf course with the family yesterday?
Yeah, it's the first time I've been out golfing in way too long. So mother-in-law and my son and I went out there, and should have taken the sunscreen. That's one thing that was a learning curve.
Trying to preach that for years.
You know what? And I'm the one that always fusses about it. And it's like, well, I got burned, literally.
And if you didn't see Jen's Twitter account, apparently she took home Easter dinner. You hit a squirrel?
Oh my gosh, that was insane. Yeah, nailed him. But he was stunned, and then he ran off. So I hope he's okay.
Okay, so he ran off. So we didn't get that. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can be a part of the program. B from Columbia weighs in on the text line. Man, our baseball team is so inconsistent. I'll take the win. They don't have any quit in them, but I just wish they could bottle this sort of play the rest of the season. I'll get to the rest of B's text later. Ronnie also weighing in and asking how many people were in attendance at the spring game, and says, Larry, won us another series. I do agree with that. Gamecock Larry's predictions. I was talking with somebody about that at the spring game, and they said, boy, I actually feel pretty good about this baseball team now that Larry's turned on them. That lets me know that things are going to be very positive for this baseball team with his predictions. That tells me that the baseball program's got a chance to not only get to postseason play, but make a run to the College World Series, given his track record of predictions. So maybe people
Mark Kingston's a second half coach.
That, and again,
That's what we've always said.
Yeah. So we'll get to all that. Ronnie, official attendance, I believe, was 20,000. It was just over 20,000 is what they announced in the press box during the game. I was at the game. Patrick, you were watching live streaming. Jen, I believe you were watching on the streaming SEC Network Plus platform. They'll re-show the game. None of the SEC games ended up on any of actual television, all 14 being streamed by the SEC Network, and then they'll come back and use it as content over the next few months. I think actually Missouri, maybe there was one or two that got played last week on the SEC Network that were actually live streamed when they were running live a week ago Saturday. But it was Patrick, I would guess at least there was no doubt there was 30,000 there. The lower bowl was full. The Gamecock Walk looked incredible. There was certainly an energy. The parking lot that we were in was full. Kids were playing football. I wouldn't say it was a Saturday in the South in the fall kind of environment, but there was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement walking to that stadium at about 6:30 on Saturday night. And it was a very good crowd there. Kudos to Gamecock fans for turning out. There was 30,000 there in my estimate.
The pictures were impressive. Why would they? I mean, was whoever announced that number just bad at guessing? Did they not scan tickets, or like what is the wouldn't you want to overestimate anyway, even if you were saying that?
Yeah, from what I understand, there might have been one section. I know that where we went in, there was not turnstiles that, as they turn and you click and exactly. And I think that's the way it was across most of the stadium, from what I understood. There might have been one area that had turnstiles over on the west side, I believe, and maybe they just took the number off of that. I don't have an answer for that. It doesn't really. It's kind of irrelevant. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I would estimate there was easily 30,000 people there. And if you told me 35, I would say, yep, that seems very fair. It seems about right. So 803-404-6100. We'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines when we return. You're listening to the early game, the Monday morning edition on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
And want to talk to you about our friends at Canty Foundation Specialists. Canty Foundation Specialists offer quality products, proven services, and professional experience to permanently repair any foundation and crawl space problem you might have. They've been proudly serving North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, including offices in Columbia, Greenville, Augusta, Charlotte, and Charleston for years, and have been great supporters of the program. You can give them a call at 803-424-8380 if you need any foundation repair, crawl space repair. They also offer concrete leveling, concrete repair, as well as commercial services and basement waterproofing. So again, that number is 803-424-8380. They are the foundation specialists. So if you have cracks in your exterior brick, if you have cracks in your walls or above your windows and door frames, if you have doors or windows that stick, uneven or bouncy floors, or cracks over your garage door, these are all signs of foundation problems, and you need to give Canty a call if that is the case. They also will fix your crawl space issues. Like if you have an open crawl space and recently experienced a storm, from what I can tell, it is pouring in Columbia right now, so maybe you have standing water under your home. High humidity and condensation in your crawl space can create an environment for mold, mildew, and pests, including termites, and that moisture will lead to wood rot and floor joist problems. It can create musty smells or awful odors that come from mold and mildew. They can cause health issues such as runny nose, itchy eyes, or coughs. 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space, so you need to make sure it's taken care of. Give Canty a call at 803-424-8380, or you can visit them on the web at cantycanfixit.com.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
A lot of rain to deal with, standing water for sure. And actually, to let you know about Clifton Road and Old Courthouse Road. Also, Portland Springs Road, Class Springs Road, and Asheville. And 2 lanes currently blocked. I-26 westbound after Valentine. I did 151. And your forecast for today, we do have rain for sure, and we'll continue.
All right, got me?
I got you.
Okay. All right. We got everything up and running properly. All right. Yeah, I'll just sit right here this morning. Sit kind of at master control. All right. Let me talk to Jen for a minute.
Cut it Masters, the 28-year-old Texan rebounded to win the RBC Heritage. Despite putting, Speed claimed his first victory since the Valero Texas Open last Easter Sunday. So good thing the 2023 Masters concludes next Easter. Oversized.
So you're at the game, and that hot dog and soda came back to haunt you with heartburn. You got it. With a few acids until bedtime, and then the heartburn comes back. Does this happen to you? Instead of fighting your heartburn, block it with Prilosec OTC so you can celebrate your team's victory without heartburn distracting you. Taking one Prilosec OTC pill in the morning can prevent excess acid production and block your heartburn all day and all night. Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn. Not for immediate relief.
Welcome to Allstate, where you can save just by being you. DriveWise and the Allstate mobile app gives you personalized driving feedback, and by adding it to your policy, you can save for driving safe just by being yourself. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today. Not available in every state. Savings based on guidelines and other safeguarding discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company.
Sponsor Renew Energy Solutions.
Everywhere you go, things are just getting more expensive. Let Renew Energy Solutions take one bill off your plate when you go solar. This month, we'll cover your power bills until 2023. Visit ENUEnergysolutions.com.
Big
Yeah, we just got
Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 the game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning, plus 15% off filters and purifiers. Book online at ZeroRestColumbia.com.
Hardee's presents your Wake Up and Win bite. 2 sizzling sausage patties, win. Melty cheese and a freshly cracked fried egg, double win. All on a made-from-scratch biscuit, win again. The new Ultimate Sausage Biscuit is so hearty and delicious, you'll start your day on a winning streak. Bite into the new Ultimate Sausage Biscuit from Hardee's and order up to 7 Available for limited time at participating restaurants during regular breakfast hours. Price and participation may vary. My reward members are double starred with the app for limited time. See app for details.
Silverados are back in stock at Herndon Chevrolet. We're ready to kick the inventory shortage to the curb with new trucks available now. Trade in and trade up to a new ride and leave the stress of last year behind. Your trade will never be worth more than it is right now. Visit Herndon Chevrolet online at HerndonChevy.com. Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you want to smile. Smile.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hard at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Outspoken Bicycles invites you to spring clean and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trading Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles, wheels, frames, parts, clothing, and shoes, and receive instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trading Days are April 21st through the 23rd, exclusively at Outspoken Bicycles on 3223 Divine Street. See Outspoken Bicycles on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Let's see here. Robin, that sounds like a good time. Hopefully you're up and at 'em back to school this morning. I think what I told my kids, 6 more weeks, about 6 more weeks. Larry, Jen, and I were just talking about that in the little producer room about the dirt racing, the back and forth. Apparently Reggie won again.
been some good. Yeah, Travis, I saw that. I was confused. I thought the girls were walking around to be introduced.
Services to help you evaluate your professional strengths and weaknesses. Visit scworks.org/jobs or an SC Works Center near you to learn how to enhance your skills and be the best candidate for employers. Sponsored by SC Works. SC Works is a member of the American Job Center Network and an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services are available upon request to individuals with disabilities.
What we're talking about on 107.5.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$6:34 on a Monday morning, April the 18th. Obviously, what we have been talking about is the spring game. South Carolina holding theirs over the weekend. I don't know if score matters to anybody. I'm not sure. I would actually ask this morning as you come in, do you actually know the final score of the spring? If I asked Patrick, Jen, if I said, do y'all know the score, the actual score of the spring game on Saturday, could either one of you say it?
Somebody won.
Somebody won. Let's get Patrick's mic on up there. That way we can hear his if he's got a prediction.
10-10 at halftime.
10-10 at half. Yes, that's exactly right. That's it. I knew that as well. 20-13. If you're wondering, 20-13 was the final. The Garnet defeats the Black. The way I looked at it was Spencer Rattler defeated Luke Doty. That was pretty much. I to be honest, I don't even know who the coaches were. I know, I don't know who the coaches were divided up. I never thought to even look down on the sideline where we were at. I was watching on the little televisions, and then also hanging out with the kids and talking to some people and enjoying the game. But yeah, I don't. The outcome really irrelevant. The big part is nobody gets injured. But after the game, you got a chance to hear a little bit from Shane Beamer and Spencer Rattler. Here's a little bit of what Shane Beamer had to say regarding the game on Saturday night after the game at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Probably just being able to develop depth. Last year, we've talked about it before. I mean, last year our second team corner, second team defensive back was a walk-on that we had brought out in a walk-on tryout 2 months earlier that played receiver when he got here. So we just didn't have any depth on defense. And we got down there to the very last drive tonight, and those guys that were in there, a lot of them are guys that are going to be playing on Saturdays for us this fall. So the biggest thing is just being able to develop the what your starting group can be, just being able to really get some quality work with backups and develop depth. And when we came out of last spring, we had a general idea, but there was also a lot of guys that we were going to be adding. Carlins Patel, for example, that didn't even go through spring practice that we knew were coming, but we didn't get a chance to see in the spring. So it's like night and day from that standpoint.
Shane Beamer there after the game, just talking about the depth. And Patrick, that is a part of it. They were able to play a lot of guys that in some way, shape, or form, we hope, not just this year, like for guys like Colton Gauthier and Braden Davis, but we hope in the long term we get to see. And that was kind of the neat thing about this particular spring game. Richard, or let me go back to, I think it was B from Columbia, who hit us up and kind of disagreed on the Marshawn Lloyd take and went on to say Juju is the best running back on the team, in my opinion. And Patrick, it is what you kind of talked about it. You said, hey, Juju McDowell, that guy, he's got to be a big part of the offense this year. You've got to find ways to get him involved in the game. And whether you got to see Lloyd on Saturday night, Juju McDowell, you got to see a little bit of Lavassier Carroll, who I was kind of excited to see in terms of, okay, what will he be in the future? South Carolina didn't really land a running back in the high school recruiting portion of recruiting, but they landed a highly thought of running back in the transfer portal, and Lavassier Carroll, a younger guy who can sit and develop and wait. And so what Shane Beamer just talked about there, yeah, you were able to see a lot of guys that maybe won't contribute this year, but you can get excited about down the line.
Yeah, and I mean, just guys kept making catches, and I was like, oh, what about that guy? What about that guy? What about that guy? And I mean, somebody texted in about Chad Terrell, how it was good to see him making a play. And I mean, I agree. I don't know how much he'll factor in this season, but you kind of, as far as health, you got to see what most of your actual units are going to look like. You got to see what the wide receiver group's going to look like. You got to see all the running backs healthy. You got to see the offensive line, what it's going to look like. And most of the defense was healthy. It's just that tight end group was the one group where you didn't actually get to see the two guys that are going to play the most this year. And if you want to count EJ Jenkins, and you didn't really get to see that either. So maybe Chad Terrell factors in. I don't know. He looks dynamic. He looks like whatever weight he gained he's carrying it really well, and he's not going to be inline blocking tight end, but he can make some plays after the catch for you. So you do feel good about the depth in a lot of positions. And as far as going forward, you see Omega Blake make a play early in the game, and just guys that you haven't really thought about that. Yeah, say this is going to be Juice Wells' only year, right? He is a grad transfer, right?
No. Juice Wells has got plenty of eligibility
2 years
remaining. I think he's got, again, because of the COVID year, this is going to mess all of us up for the next few years. And by the way, we'll talk about this coming up here as we kind of go through the program, because now you're going to hit another interesting portion of the college football season, another level of free agency that we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, you've got to get rosters down to 85 guys. And so Juice Wells enters as a junior. But again, Patrick, I think because of the COVID year,
he's got three.
He actually has three. So he is technically, 2020, he was a freshman at James Madison. And we all know you get that year of eligibility back.
Doesn't count. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So Van will be gone, and that will likely be it, right?
Possibly. Well, Chad Terrell, who you mentioned, I know it's more of a tight end, but yeah, you look down the line. I would assume now DeCarrion Joyner, I saw him bouncing around on the field Saturday night. He didn't play, but he'll be a part of the.
And then Landon Sampson too, who's just not here yet, but just another guy that's going to factor in. So there is a lot of bodies, and it's going to be roster management and personnel management is going to be a really kind of difficult task this year.
Yeah,
which is a good problem to have.
Well, and we'll jump to that topic real quick, and we'll get back to some of you weighing in, asking about, DJ Twitty was a guy I mentioned in the first segment that came on and maybe becomes the star of the spring. But yeah, roster management now becomes very interesting. I believe, I don't have the official number right in front of me, South Carolina sits at 91 or 90 official scholarship players, Patrick, and you got to get down to 85. There will be transfers. And there may be, now the interesting point, two of those guys on that list, Rico Powers and Jamal Weiss. Jamal Weiss, a true freshman defensive end who enrolled early, was not with the team on Saturday night. We'll see what happens there. And Rico Powers also not with the team. Maybe those are the first two guys, but you're going to have to get down to that 85 limit. And it's going to be interesting across college football, as now there's got to be roster cuts. Scholarship guys who maybe you would love to keep in your program for the ability to let them develop. Unfortunately, there has to be roster cuts now to get you to the 85-person scholarship limit, or you got to take people's scholarships away, and they've got to spend a year or 2 years on as a walk-on status.
That's like crazy to me that you can just do that. You can just say, sorry, your scholarship's gone. You could do that to anybody?
I don't know how they're going to, yes, technically you could do it to anybody. I don't know how they're exactly going to work that, but there is going to be, and it's not just at South Carolina, it's across college football as schools have got to get, now not all of them. I think Clemson, because of attrition and transfers, Clemson got way down into the 60s in terms of scholarship numbers. So maybe you don't see this at Clemson, but at South Carolina, you're going to see over the next week or two some names maybe that you wanted to hold on to, or that you thought maybe could contribute 2, 3, 4 years down the line, or maybe you thought would contribute in their career, transfer out. Is South Carolina has got to make some cuts here, basically.
Yeah, I mean, how do you nudge them on? Like, hey, hey, buddy, you heard about the transfer portal? It's working out really well for some people. You notice that? There's a lot of other good schools out there besides South Carolina. You just kind of nudge them in that direction, or are you honest with them and just say, hey, look, we're pretty tight on numbers right now. I might have to pull your scholarship next week. So, have you considered the portal?
Yeah,
is that kind of how it goes?
That's probably going. Excuse me. That's probably going to how it has to go. I would imagine. The NCAA is going to be a little bit more lenient on what exactly happens to people or schools right now if they're pooling scholarships, but certainly kind of as you just mentioned, it's a situation here in which South Carolina will have their share of transfers out. South Carolina does have, as strange as it sounds, when you talk about getting to that 85 scholarship limit, South Carolina has a recruiting scholarship from this past class that they can give to another transfer if they want it. And I think, Patrick, that's why they've kind of held on to it because, we're just talking about guys leaving. You come out of this spring game, Patrick, I'll ask you, what is maybe the one position? Is it trying to find another offensive lineman? Is it trying to find another linebacker? Is it finding another defensive back? Do you feel like you need another wide receiver? Like, what is the one position? Or do you feel like you're good with everything right now? Right? You've got one scholarship in the transfer portal you can use. You can go out there and find one person. How these numbers work out, again, we never thought we would need calculus and all that stuff, but apparently we do to decipher the NCAA scholarship numbers.
If I had one scholarship to offer, I would be holding out for, I believe, a lineman. I would say an offensive lineman if he's established and you think he could step in and be a swing player for you right away. I would say that, or maybe someone else in the secondary. That would probably be the other one. But you're really not desperate anywhere. And also in the transfer portal, you're probably not going to get like a day one starter because why would they be leaving at this point in the year? That'd be more of a summer thing. But if you felt like the player could start, I would like to have some security across from Cam Smith at the cornerback spot and feel really good about that position. A linebacker would be nice, even though you've got some returning experience now. And offensive line will always be able to improve that.
803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. Harry weighing in this morning. Do y'all see a good replacement for Parker White? Will we be able to get kickoffs into the end zone? Would love your take on kicking. I paid attention a little bit. To me, I think kicking is a game thing. Like, you can be great in practice and you can be ripping 50-yarders and you can be 20 of 20 from 40 yards out, but then you put 80,000 people in the stands and you put the actual points on the board, not in a spring game. I think the best they can ever do, is when they give the kicker the opportunity to win a scholarship, basically, or they trick him. He's got to make the scholarship kick. I don't know how you simulate. It's kind of like, to me, Harry, it's kind of like going out on the practice green in golf and hitting a bunch of 5-footers and just practicing with nobody there and the tournament not on the line, as opposed to the adrenaline and the energy and everything that's going on when you've actually got to go out and make a kick in a game. But I do think they've got guys. I did see some things on Saturday night that they've got guys with legs. They've got guys with accuracy. Mitch Jeter booted, I think that was a 47-yarder there early on. To me, it looks like it, but do they do it when it's 10-7 in the fourth quarter? Arkansas is leading the game and you've got to hit a field goal to tie the game. Can they handle the pressure and the nerves there? Parker White seemed to be able to do it.
That's going to be the issue. But this was at least a decent step forward. Like, kicking in the stadium is also slightly different than just kicking out on the practice field. This was the closest they're going to get, with some fans behind the end zone, behind the goalpost, and being able to kick it in the stadium where the sightlines might feel a little different and just the vibe might feel different. So, it's not going to answer any questions. And there's a third guy, that Arizona State transfer whose name I'm already forgetting, that Beamer mentioned is going to be part of the competition this summer. So you don't glean much from that. Was there even a missed kick? I didn't see one, unless there was one late in the fourth quarter that I didn't see.
I did not see one either. I think we did leave a little early because, again, at some point you just kind of zone out on the spring games. 803-404-6100. Richard weighing in, as he does each and every morning. Appreciate him being a listener. He says, I think it's great because there's no spot guaranteed. Guys should be fighting like heck now to earn their spot. We'll continue talking about that and getting into some of the spring, and we'll talk some baseball as well. South Carolina takes 2 of 3 from 25th ranked Mississippi. They climb back above 500 as they go to the back half of conference play. We'll continue. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Yep, we are there. You can already tell I got a little sunburnt yesterday hanging out at soccer and enjoying Easter. and you can tell it's going to be time to start using that air conditioner. And that means it's time to call AAA Heating and Air. 803-677-1500 is how you can get in touch with AAA Heating and Air, because right now you need to have your heating and air unit inspected. Make sure they are out there to take care of you and your family. They can do it right now with just great deals. AAA Heating and Air treats you like a family member. Roy and Dana Finley have been there for me and my family. They'll do the exact same thing for you. So don't hesitate. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. That's how you can get in touch with them. If you've got an issue with your heating and air unit and you're thinking it's time to purchase a new one, here's how you can do it. Right now, AAA Heating and Air can give you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. That's right, $1,500 to buy back your old unit. Then on top of that, they'll work with you. For those who qualify, no money down, 0% financing. And the absolute best part, everything comes guaranteed. A 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure that your heating and air unit continues to work properly. And let's be honest, that's the most important thing. That's why I love AAA Heating and Air. They don't just come and install the unit and then run off from you. They're there to make sure that heating and air unit continues to work properly. So what they do, again, is offer you a 15-year parts and labor warranty. And right now, you can get a pre-summer maintenance for an absolute new customer, just $49. So again, give them a phone call, 803-677-1500. That's AAA Heating and Air. Give them a call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
We had an earlier accident on I-26 westbound at mile marker 101. That has been cleared, so things moving better along there. We also do have a tie-up, though. Bookman Road at Old Two Notch Road and Boiling Springs Road at Platte Springs Road, an accident still there. Your forecast for today, this rain is going to continue probably about through lunchtime. Then it should be clearing and looking for a high today of only 65. Sunny and 67 tomorrow, and sun and clouds on Wednesday. We get up to 70. Right now, scattered rain and 58 at 107.5 The Game.
Walmart can help you get there. Stop at their Wellness Day event on Saturday, April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to check your blood pressure, glucose, and more.
You just gonna do that? Go off of the.
I heard my humans talking about how Amy would call 811 when they start digging at water or utilities underground. When you tell 811 when you're ready to dig, they'll have the utility crews come out and mark it so you can avoid hitting them. I'm gonna call 811 right now. Start digging out. Just remember that from thumbs. Sponsored by South Carolina 811. Heard by SCBA.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or extrapancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't really conduct digestive enzymes to break down food.
Yeah, another DN would be. That's possible. I think who knows what's in the transfer portal. It'll be kind of crazy to see what happens with the transfer portal and now what kind of becomes of some of these players. It's hard to say. South Carolina might lose a player or two that they needed. Yeah, Jeter. Mitch Jeter did look good kicking the ball. I mean, that 47-yarder, that would have been good from about 51 or 52. So after you get into any of the USFL?
Not at all.
I watched just because we got back Saturday night, and the timing of it was the Generals and the Stallions or whatever the heck was going on. It was like 14-14 at the very end, and we kind of watched it, but
I mean, I turned it on for maybe a couple minutes.
In case the second guest arrives.
Or later today. Because I try to take care of everybody. Team player and all that crap.
Which one did you just play? Bigger difference this year?
I just played one.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Larry. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it was neat. We got out there and tailgated. We the Austin soccer games got canceled because of the rain. They closed the fields, so it kind of changed our Saturday a little bit. So we ended up going out and tailgating a little bit. I had the little iPad that is wireless, and so I can kind of set that up. We were watching the baseball and the Heritage, and the kids were playing football, and we were enjoying some bourbon and Bojangles, and it felt like a football Saturday, which was fun. And then you go into the game, and we were in the club seats. I was in the club seats with the kids. We were testing out the Champions Club and Executive Club, and so it was neat. But you sit down and like 10 minutes in, the team runs out, and everybody's fired up. And then you're just like, man, I want to watch them play a real game. I want to see it when it like really matters. And at that point, it just became about hanging out with my son, and daughter, just relaxing and stuff. But it was fun. I mean, nobody got hurt. Spencer Rattler looks like the real deal. I think that's the biggest thing. He looks like a quarterback. It's crazy to me that South Carolina still has not been able to get a public football commitment this year, Patrick. It's just kind of wild. All right. Let's let Gamecock Larry be negative. Unbelievable. We've come this far with Gamecock Larry. Eight 803-404-6100. South Carolina takes 2 of 3 from Mississippi in baseball this weekend to get above 500, move to 6-9 in conference and 18-17 overall. Gamecock Larry's been down on the baseball program. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines, where it didn't change much of his opinion this weekend. Larry, just not the weekend you were hoping for with baseball? All right, yeah, well, we don't. Yeah, we'll decide. Yeah, it was a great weekend. Hope you had a great Easter weekend. We're back for hour number 2 next. Take your let me know if we get these Golden Fools cut real quick here. Yeah, do a 30 and a 60. See if he likes these.
She wanted to buy a home, but her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association. That's who we are.
At the United States Postal Service, we deliver packages fast and affordable.
All right, in 3, 2, 2. Okay, this is going to be the 30. Let's do the 30 right here. Let me get their phone number in front of me. Always press the button. There we go. That should fix that. All right. In 3, 2, 1. It is that time of the year where you start thinking about running home after a long day of work and doing a cannonball into your pool. But if it's 3, 2, 1. It is that time of the year where you need to think about having a clean pool. So when you come home, it is ready to be used. Maybe you're going to practice some cannonballs in the backyard with the kid jumping into the pool. But if you've got a dirty pool, that's not going to be possible. Call Corley Pool Solutions today, 803-445-8109. Right now, Corley Pool Solutions offers leak detection. That's right. Make sure that pool is maintaining its water properly. Call Corley Pool Solutions for their leak detection process. 803-445-8109. I don't like that one. Just hold on to it. 60 seconds in 3, 2, 1. It is that time of the year where when you come home, you're ready to jump into the pool, maybe with a dive, maybe with a cannonball, maybe with a jackknife. But if you've got a dirty pool, you're not going to be doing that. You're just going to be staring at it and probably doing it very sadly. Call Corley Pool Solutions today to get them out to clean your pool. 803-445-8109. You need summer maintenance. And not only that, but right now, Corley Pool Solutions offers leak detection. If you've been losing water in your pool and you're not sure why, Corley Pool Solutions offers a new service, leak detection, to make sure your pool is maintaining its water. 803-445-8109. On top of all that, it's more affordable to maintain that pool with Corley Pool Solutions than it is to go to the pool store. Every pool has its own personality, and when Tracy Corley and his team show up, they're going to be able to diagnose any problems right away. 803-445-8109. Again, that's 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions. Save the 60, delete the 30. 30 sucked. Just do it that way. And then I might cut one more 60 here at some point in the morning.
Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home, but her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood everything.
Yeah, something just happened. I thought you were doing it. Yeah.
No, I can't get it to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden, like, I don't know what. It's almost like somebody's in there scrolling it.
Exactly, but I can't stop.
Now it's going back to the top, and now it's at 0. I literally, it looks like somebody remoted in because it just all went all the way back to 0.
Yeah, and like something started, and then so his stopped scrolling.
Yeah, now it's fine.
IT pro, even with no prior experience. Impossible? You learn online from home, and My Computer Career offers lifetime career services to help you find jobs with companies begging for IT pros. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Yeah, Travis, we don't need negative Larry. We don't. If Larry wants to call and be upbeat and tell us that Sacramento is going to go 15-0 and Spencer Rattler is going to win a Heisman, I'll give him more time. But he's just calling in right now to.
Let's get out to the phone line real quick. Rusty, you got about a minute. He's got a Mardi Gras story. You got 45 seconds. Make it quickly.
All right, I'll make it quick. Listen, I marched in the Greatest Benediction Parade in the Candle High School band when I was a teen. Order the band director came along beside the band and said, "Look straight ahead, don't look up."
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
Well, as a 15-year-old, I looked up, and the women along the balcony were exposing themselves. And I want to tell you, it's one of the greatest parades I've ever been in my life, guys.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Let me finish, Bill.
107.5 The Game.
Hour number 2 on a Monday morning after Patrick, you weren't there. 8 out of 10 is probably what maybe a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, we probably could have seen more Well, I say we definitely could have seen more offensive fireworks from South Carolina. Maybe
There wasn't a bit though.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the complaint coming out of the spring game. Anonymous Texter says, overall, I thought the spring game was a success. You always want to come out with no injuries, which was a huge positive. The atmosphere was great and loved it being a night. I would have loved to see some scripted plays where Rattler throws the ball downfield more, but understand you don't want to give away any plays for other teams to prep against. Also, it's difficult to tell how well the offensive line did being on separate teams instead of one cohesive starting unit. Most of the starters were together. Is in terms of at least what I saw the early on in the game, unless they started mixing it up there later, as far as the offensive line was concerned. But Patrick, I tell you again, yeah, that's going to probably be. I would assume if you come out of there with a complaint, it is what you just. It's the fact that we didn't see Rattler and say Juice Wells hook up for an extended pass down the field, chunking it down the field. This was more of it appeared to be that controlled short passing game that Marcus Satterfield wanted to work on, and I'm okay with that. That's, again, your defensive secondary. You start throwing it down the field, that you don't want to expose them too much if they've got some flaws, if they've got some issues with coverage. That week 2 game, you talk about being able to really get the fan base going and build excitement and hype. I haven't looked. I'll pull it up real quick. Just when you look ahead, we know Shane Beamer has got good relationships with a lot of ESPN guys, right?
Yeah.
So South Carolina, I'm going to assume, is not going to be preseason top 25, right? That seems a little unrealistic. Are you with me on that? Or because of Spencer Rattler here, do you think they sneak in at 24 or 25?
They were not in the ESPN FPI.
Okay, not in the ESPN FPI? Nor
was Tennessee, though.
Okay. I'm just giving you week 3, Saturday, September 17th. I'm really talking out of my rear end right now with what I'm about to tell you. But that weekend, your marquee games are Penn State, Auburn. Miami travels to Texas A&M. That could be a really fun one. California, Notre Dame. Is that marquee? Yeah. No. Okay.
No.
Michigan State at Washington.
Okay. No.
Oklahoma, Nebraska. Yeah.
Is Nebraska 2-0 at this point? Maybe. I don't know. The general opinion on Nebraska is kind of weird, but as of right now, that doesn't do anything for me.
There was one other one that I had here on the list. Well, you got Mississippi at Georgia Tech, Mississippi State at LSU. The other one I had here on the list that I was going to throw at you and see if it was worth it. BYU at Oregon.
I don't know enough about this BYU.
So here's why I'm telling you this: Penn State at Auburn, Miami at Texas A&M, and it feels like South Carolina, Georgia. If South Carolina's 2-0, beating Arkansas and Spencer Rattler and Georgia and Shane Beamer and South Carolina, if South Carolina is 2-0 in contention for game day,
yeah,
it's fair.
I mean, that'll be a top 20 matchup. If South Carolina beats Arkansas, they'll be of course ranked by week 3. Someone's going to lose those early games, and yeah. Were any of those games that you listed off neutral site games?
No. Miami, Texas A&M is a really interesting game, and that one is in College Station at Kyle Field, and Penn State makes the return trip to the Plains for Auburn. You feel like Penn State Auburn might be the natural one there because both should be 2-0 going into that game. Miami at Texas A&M should be really, really interesting. Mario Cristobal going out to play Texas A&M. So there are other good options, but I'm throwing it out there.
I mean, I do feel like they're going to defer to the non-conference matchups generally.
Possibly. Yeah. The Miami, Texas A&M, Penn State, Auburn game. Certainly. I'm just throwing it out there when you look ahead because of South Carolina trying to build momentum, Patrick, and some of that Spencer Rattler, again, his performance on Saturday night and what we took away from that. And again, I think the one thing that people will be a little down on is, you didn't see him throw the ball down the field a great deal on Saturday night. Now, you saw a few plays that resulted. The Chad Terrell catch and run certainly was very solid and something to get a little excited about, Patrick, and something that I think South Carolina fans were happy to see for Chad Terrell, who I think enrolled around 2002, right after I did.
Yeah. Oh, and also at that position, somebody mentioned we didn't talk about Trey Kenyon either. And every time he catches the football, I'm just like, oh my goodness, how I couldn't imagine tackling that man. I mean, I don't know what he weighs right now, but he looks like he's running around at 6'7", 300 pounds.
South Carolina we've talked a lot, and we talked a lot on Thursday and Friday about the wide receivers, and we kind of Juice Wells and Josh Van, and let's see what happens with Landon Sampson, or if Dakereon Joyner comes back. Corey Rutgers is going to come and be involved in the program. Can Xavier Legette step up and become more of a playmaker there? Amarion Brown is a guy that you look at and you go, okay, is he going to be able to do something that's a little bit different? All of the things that at the wide receiver position we've talked about, but Patrick, Austin Stogner didn't play on Saturday night, and he is going to be, in my opinion, one of the top 2 pass catchers on this football team. He didn't play. He's not a part of the program just yet, finishing up schoolwork with Oklahoma, and then will officially be on campus in about a month. Jaheim Bell, well, we know what Jaheim Bell is all about, and he's a Swiss Army knife. You can line him up in the backfield and hand him the ball. You can put him out at wide receiver. You can put him out there at tight end and draw a mismatch. Jaheim Bell didn't play, but I guess you factor him more as a tight end. And now you throw Trey Kenyon into the mix, and again, Patrick, there is some guys here that should be able to scare the opposing defense. Should be able to. We all want to see it in games, but should be able to scare the opposing defense with their ability to catch the ball and make some plays after the catch.
Well, yeah, I mean, they all kind of scare you in different ways. Like Jaheim Bell terrifies you because no matter who's covering him, it's going to be a mismatch. Stogner scares you because he's got a relationship with Spencer Rattler. He can play inline or he can catch balls. Trey Kenyon scares you because if he gets his back on you, like he can just box you out like a basketball player, and you have no chance of getting around him because he's so large. And he also scares you because if he catches a ball over the middle of the field and a safety or corner has to try and tackle him, they're going to hurt themselves. Like that, I couldn't imagine having to tackle him more than anything else. Jaheim Bell is a size speed freak, but dude, Trey Kenyon is one of the largest people I've ever seen running with a football in his hands.
803-404-6100. Travis weighs in on our Buford Lending live stream. He makes a good point. He says, I didn't see any tricks under the hat either on where Beamer said he had them. So, yeah, Beamer said he had no tricks under his hat, right, Patrick? That was
secrets under his hat. Secrets under his hat.
Secrets under his hat. Yeah, there were no secrets on Saturday night. Yeah, no, I didn't see. They honored Lamont Paris on Saturday early on, honored the women's basketball team a little bit, showed on the big board several of the former players that were back in town, but no celebrity off the sideline catch. Shane Beamer going for, again, I thought a very good production on Saturday night. Like the game itself was what it was, but it was fairly entertaining. You kept Spencer Rattler in there and Luke Doty in there for the whole first half. Colton Gauthier and Braden Davis got some opportunities to throw the football around. Jake Helfrich, number 28. Not like seeing a number 28 out there as a quarterback, throwing it around and doing some good things. It was, all in all, I'll say it is a pretty good production. Biggest joke of the night, lack of touchdowns in 2021 resulted in an overflow of fireworks that we're able to use post game.
Was the fireworks? You didn't stay, right?
By the time I walked out and got back to the car, they were doing the fireworks.
Okay.
They were doing so we did get to see the fireworks. We saw it from the parking lot, and it was a very impressive firework display. And yes, again, I think it was because
they weren't necessary for the first half of last season, and they just started to stockpile.
Yeah, there was an expiration date that needed to be used on those things, and so there was a very good fireworks show post game. So all in all, I think South Carolina has a successful weekend. Patrick, I looked it up. Moritz, our buddy who joined us last Thursday, beach volleyball, 2-2 on the weekend. Won the two games Friday over Charleston and Coastal Carolina, but unfortunately dropped the two top 20 games against Florida Gulf Coast and Georgia State on Saturday.
Did we win the track meet? Can you win a track meet?
Carlton, who I know has already weighed in on our Buford Lending live stream, can let us know how we did in the track meet. And I saw Heath Klein post a selfie, because that's the best time to post a selfie after you've just run a 5K in the rain, essentially.
When Heath Klein posts a selfie, we all win.
Yes.
Bingo. But he did it. Was anybody else out there? Were we? Nope. So good for him.
No, we covered that thoroughly last week. We don't run.
I know I sensed some bitterness in Heath's tweet about that too.
Yeah,
That was funny.
He did.
That was
seem,
absolutely very funny.
He does seem angry that we don't participate in 5Ks.
Yeah, I think Terry told Heath he had to run it, and there was some sort of disconnect there.
803.
Also, Heath took a picture of Spencer Rattler. Is this a screenshot from the broadcast, or was Heath standing in front of Spencer Rattler's face to take this picture?
I have not seen that one. If I haven't,
I'm just scrolling through his Twitter now because I hadn't seen the post 5K picture.
Yeah. I haven't gotten on
I
Twitter.
assumed Heath was probably coaching him.
Yeah, probably
Sure.
so. Offering
Mm-hmm.
some good advice on how to
Mechanical
throw
advice.
the football. Yeah, that's probably, or how to run a 5K. So if you want to be a part of the program this morning, 803-404-6100. We were talking scholarships earlier and having to get down to the 85 limit. Wayne weighs in on the text or on the Twitter line and says, when you say 91 scholarship players, are you included COVID years? Because I thought they didn't count against the 85. Now, Wayne, NCAA has adjusted. Now it's 85 scholarship players regardless. It is 85 is the number. So we will see the transfer portal heat up again in the coming weeks. Some basketball news from the weekend. South Carolina does pick up a walk-on commitment over the weekend. Trey Boynton, 6'4", 185-pound guard, was originally at Evansville in Indiana, will transfer in. Didn't play last year because of a broken wrist. So South Carolina, he will be a walk-on initially, and we'll see how that kind of works out for him.
Well, Lamont Parrish just needs to be able to play 5-on-5 in practice at this point.
Yeah.
Can't be picky.
Juwan Gary was in town for an official visit, according to Jamie Shaw of On3 Sports. I did see last night where it appears he is now on a visit to Nebraska, so we'll keep an eye on him. Former Gray Collegiate standout was back in town for a visit, and I believe his name, I was trying to go back now and find it, but I believe it is Michi Williams, the former Ohio State point guard. Patrick has said he will take official visits to South Carolina, LSU, and Pittsburgh in the next several days. Michi Williams, again, a transfer. So a couple names there. We're still waiting on Hayden Brown and his decision.
Michi Johnson?
Michi Johnson. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yep.
Thank you. Michi Johnson.
Michi Johnson.
Saw that this morning on the way in. So some basketball news there from the weekend. So a lot to cover. Baseball takes 2 of 3 from Mississippi as well. If you want to weigh in on that, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. We'll get you some audio. Shane Beamer and Spencer Rattler when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point.
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
We still do have an accident. They're working Bookman Road at Old Tunach Road, and an injury accident Boiling Springs Road at Platte Springs Road. Other than that, though, things not too bad. Just a lot of standing water out there and some heavy rain. We're expecting that rain to continue really until about lunchtime, 1 o'clock today. Then it'll be clearing, and then we'll have a mix of clouds and sun. 65 for the high, 65 tomorrow, 70 on Wednesday. Right now, though, we do have that rain, and it's 58 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Last week, I noted that Roki Sasaki, the 20-year-old phenom of the Toshiba Latte Marines, had hurled a 19-strikeout perfect game. So guess what, folks? Yesterday, he threw 8 more perfect innings before being pulled. Sounds like Clayton Kershaw. None of the last 52 batters he's faced has reached base. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, because SpringFest is happening now to help get you everything you need to celebrate the season. Come on into Lowe's and save on select appliances. Right now, you can get free basic install via rebate with purchase of select items $5.99 or more. We're celebrating spring with more fun and more savings. Create a season full of happiness at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Excludes Connecticut and Rhode Island. Appliance offer restrictions and other fees may apply. See store for details while supplies last.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Sponsored by Midland Air Service Experts.
Sweating a broken AC? There's an expert for that.
Let your local experts at Midland Air Service Experts keep you cool with $50 off any repair. Call 866-EXPERTS. See website for license details.
Outspoken Bicycles invites you to spring clean and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles, wheels, frames, parts, clothing, and shoes, and receive instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days are April 21st through the 23rd, exclusively at Outspoken Bicycles on 3223 Divine Street. See Outspoken Bicycles on Facebook and Instagram for details. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. It's time for our Spring Sweet Bids auction. Make your life a lot sweeter by coming to our station's website beginning April 21st. You'll be able to bid on delightful items and services from wonderful local businesses, ranging from furniture to home improvement services to recreational items and services, and so much more, all at incredible discounted prices. And you won't even have to move from your spot. The Spring Sweet Bids auction begins April 21st at our station website, where it's a short drive on your hard drive with no parking issues.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Hardee's presents your Wake Up and Win Bite. 2 sizzling sausage patties, win. Melty cheese and a freshly cracked fried egg, double win. All on a made-from-scratch biscuit, win again. The new Ultimate Sausage Biscuit is so hearty and delicious, you'll start your day on a winning streak. Bite into the new Ultimate Sausage Biscuit from Hardee's and or on the Hardee's app to earn double the stars on any purchase. Feed your happy. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants during regular breakfast hours. Price and participation may vary. My Rewards members earn double stars through the app for a limited time. See app for details.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the Gutter Man.
The Gutterman offers a variety of guards for your gutter. Protect your biggest investment. Call the guys in the powder blue trucks. Locally owned and operated for 46 years. Call 791-7147. That's 791-7147.
We keep the clutter out of your gutter. Call on the Gutter Man.
Hey there, how's it going? It's Tate of the Titus and Tate podcast. We just
Yeah, we air the commercials when we're not when we're having to do actual work and not able to like actually talk back and forth. So then we air the commercials. Yeah, Kelly, the attendance was much closer to 30,000, and I'd say 35,000 than it was. Much closer to 35,000 than it was 20. There was strong. That was a very good turnout. Yeah, if we're actually having to work, we no commercials is the best way to do it. Heath did say that the 5K. Now, I mean, that cracked me up, Patrick, with Heath's tweet about why you should do the 5K so that you could run through the practice facility and run through the practice facility and then finish on the field. And I was kind of like, I don't know if that's the reason I would run that far, is to run through the practice facility. Like,
He says he doesn't run the whole thing. Like there's times where he does walk.
oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it'd probably be a 2K walk, 1K run, 2K walk for me.
That seems fair. I just assume go walk a golf course and play golf with
Yeah, but you ride a cart.
a bourbon.
Home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
$7:23 on a Monday morning, April the 18th. Hard to believe we are now halfway through the month of April. The spring game is behind us. And Shane Beamer talking after the game. Jen, let's play number 6. Shane Beamer talking about Spencer Rattler and what they necessarily held back in terms of the play calling on Saturday night during the spring game.
I thought Spencer did well. Operated. We had the play clocks going and really didn't have any personnel issues or play clock issues. We're pretty clean from that standpoint. Certainly we weren't showing everything, but it wasn't like we were limiting a whole lot either. There was nothing that we said offensively that we weren't going to do, like formation wise or personnel groupings. There was nothing that I told Clayton, hey, don't blitz us or don't do this. I mean, he could run whatever he wanted. And there's certainly things that he didn't show defensively, some packages that we've used in the past and some new things we have. And certainly there's some things offensively that we didn't do a ton of, but it was wide open if you wanted it to be. But I thought Spencer did a good job, made some throws and had some receivers and tight ends and running backs make some catches for him too.
Stephen from Blythewood weighing in on the text line. People really questioning play calling in the spring game. Yeah, there was some people on Twitter and some of the message boards I just looked at last night that were questioning it. But Patrick, again, you wanted to work on, I think, what is going to be your base offense on Saturday night, especially the passing game and getting Spencer Rattler comfortable in that situation on Saturday night with a Juice Wells, who I think is going to be a big part of the offense this year, and at least physically looks like it. Again, Juice Wells on Saturday night, 3 catches, 31 yards. Rattler working with Travion Kenyon as well, 3 catches for Kenyon, 46 yards. And the tight end position, the routes that Kenyon was running, the shorter routes, are the routes that you're going to see Stogner and probably Bell run as well in those situations. So to me, it was I'm with Steven on this. I don't worry as much about the play calling. I think you'll see the deep shots taken during the season. I think Saturday was more about getting your true base offense implemented and making sure it was ready to run.
And also not giving away too much. I mean, you don't want to show how you're kind of going to build up to your shot plays. And you also want Spencer Rattler to feel comfortable and look comfortable in his first game. And that's he was 80%. He was 8 for 10. So 80% passing completion percentage. You didn't want him out there breaking the pocket and throwing deep shots, potentially throwing interceptions and things like that. So it was typical of what you would expect. The spring game is no different than an NFL preseason game. And when you have a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback, you're just going to give them simple connections, easy reads, let the receivers try and run after the catch, but just make it simple for the quarterback and kind of not tip your hand, but also run the things that you're going to be running on a game-to-game basis in the fall. So it's nothing that I didn't expect. I kind of thought there would be a couple plays built in where he was going to break the pocket and let one rip, but we didn't see that, and it's okay. But that's kind of why I wouldn't rate it a 9. I mean, if you want to grade the spring game, I would say it was a solid 7. You saw what you needed to see. There wasn't too much fireworks. Metaphorically, there were plenty of actual physical fireworks, but it was just a good, solid outing and a solid night.
After the game, Spencer Rattler talked about his wide receiver group. It's certainly something that we've talked a lot about, the guys that are involved in that group. Here's what Spencer Rattler had to say assessing the wide receivers.
Like you said, at least 2 consistent guys on the field at a time. I mean, there's times we'll have 4 consistent guys on the field, and one of them is a big tight end. So, and as well, the running backs can catch. So we're really deep in our skill position. So that makes my job a lot easier. So you just get the ball in their hands, they'll make plays, and I know you guys saw some of that tonight. Just the overall vibe, like I said a few interviews ago, the other day, just like this city, this town, like you could feel the excitement, for this team and the love for this team, and that's big time for us. When our fans got our back, we feel invincible. So, like I said, great turnout tonight, and that just made me even happier knowing I made the right decision with how loyal these fans are and how happy they were to see us play today.
Yeah, it was certainly, again, a very good turnout on the night. Again, Kelly saying on the Buford Lending live stream, heard that attendance was a little over 20,000. I think it was a success for the weather and the holiday weekend. Yeah, it was closer to 35,000. There's no doubt about that. But Patrick, back to Spencer Rattler. You hear that? I think we all want to be cautious and not get our hopes up and not get too ahead of ourselves with this wide receiving group. But you hear Spencer Rattler saying there, yeah, we had on Saturday night, he felt comfortable. We had two proven guys out there. Juice Wells was typically it. Travion Kenyon, Xavier Legette caught called a couple passes from him on Saturday night, caught two passes for 34 yards. Juju McDowell caught two passes for 9 yards from Rattler there on Saturday night. So you had guys catching the ball there a little bit from him. And he's right. When he plays in a game, Josh Vann won't be on the other offense. Josh Vann will join his side.
Yep.
Jaheim Bell will be back. Austin Stogner will finally be on campus. Do you feel like that's, I don't want to say coaches speak. He's not a coach, but is it coaches speak, or do fans really start to buy into what he's saying about it? Yeah, okay. Wells, Vann, Stogner, Bell. Oh man, okay, those four guys, and you got some depth behind them.
Well, I think I know I've heard quarterbacks say a big part of their comfortability out there is knowing that they can trust the guy they're throwing the ball to. So as much as we talk about, well, we have Amarion Brown who can beat you deep. You'll have Landon Sampson who you think can win in the slot. You've got EJ Jenkins who can go up and win one-on-one contested catch battles and this and that. There's all these different skill sets, and while that's going to be sort of Marcus Satterfield's job to craft the offense around that, what Spencer Rattler said is, I think, gives us a little bit of a peek into what he's thinking when he says, I have two consistent guys on the field at the same time, sometimes four consistent guys on the field at the same time. That just tells you that if one guy goes down for a week, if you're down a tight end and he feels like Trey Kenyon is a consistent guy and he can trust him to make the routine catches and make him look good or be where he needs to be at the right time. Because that's another part of it, is just being able to trust that your receivers are going to run the right routes. There was the Gaussier interception because they were just not on the same page. It wasn't a bad throw or anything. They just were not on the same page. So if Spencer Rattler can trust that they're going to catch the ball when it's thrown to them, hit their markers and cut at the right times and things like that, that makes him feel a lot more comfortable. So not just about being like dynamic or what this guy provides after the catch or this or that. Just the fact that he trusts these guys is going to be key, because he's just going to not look at one of his receivers if he doesn't trust them to make the catch or be where he's supposed to be.
803-404-6100. If you want to weigh in, you can do so as well on the Buford Lending live stream. Here's what Shane Beamer had to say about Juice Wells and the wide receivers also.
Juice has had a great spring. He's gotten more and more confident each practice. He's got an unbelievable competitive spirit about himself, and he loves to work. I mean, players didn't have to be over here today till I think 3:00 is when they had to be in the building for a meal that we fed them. And I walked in the offensive staff room at I think 1 p.m. and he was in there with Sat going through the calls for tonight, 2 hours before he had to be over here. It's very important to him, and to have him on the outside, and that whole receiving group has improved. I mean, Josh Vann is leading returning receiver. What Xavier Legette has done this spring is amazing. He is a weapon for us. DeCarrion coming back. We talked about Juice. Amarion Brown got an award out there tonight. I mean, he's had a great spring. He really has. I mean, he's been the most probably consistent receiver we've had all spring. Trey Atkins caught 2 touchdown passes last week in the scrimmage. So I really like that receiver group. It continues to get better, and
that's going to be the thing. Can they continue, Patrick? It's April 18th. I don't have the number. We're not doing the 100-day countdown just yet to the start of the season. And Tommy will have that ready to go coming up, and I guess the end of May. But the bottom line is, they continue to get better, and they really should continue. Justin Stepp, one of the best wide receiving coaches in the country. The progress can't stop on April 17th or April 16th on Saturday night. It's got to carry through the summer.
Yeah, it has to. And this is kind of they had their sort of public moment, and now it's time for them to buckle down, and they know what they need to work on. They kind of are getting an idea of how the depth chart's shaking out, and pretty soon here you're going to have a new crop of people. This wide receiver room is going to get bigger because Stogner's going to be here and Landon Sampson's going to be here, and hopefully that'll just continue to provide even more competition. So that's kind of the thing right now. No one's completely solidified. There's going to be competition all over the depth chart. So I think that the coaching staff is going to be pretty happy with how things are shaking out as we head towards the end of the spring and into the summer.
We'll continue letting you listen to some audio from Saturday night at the spring game. Several of you weighing in on the text line as well. Willie reminding us, don't forget, Corey Rucker is coming and Landon Sampson as well. I agree with that. So a lot of interesting things to talk about over the
138 days, by the way.
138 days. There you go. The countdown is on, and we'll get Tommy Moody on that right away. ASAP. We'll have him going by the end of the week on the countdown. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game. The game is on the air, online, on your phone or tablet, on the app, Alexa, Siri, in your gym locker.
Now we head into the off season of football. That usually means you start getting your house ready, doing some projects around the house. But if you need a little extra money to do it, you might have a big project you're thinking about, adding a pool, building an extra deck, doing something fun this summer before football season. You might need some money back in your pocket. The best way to do it is with a refinance plan through Buford Lending. Call Benji Getsy and Buford Lending today, 843-524-2404, or you can visit them on the web, buford.mortgage. There's so many different options out there. You need an experienced mortgage broker like Benji Getsy, somebody who's been in the business for 25 plus years. And right now, today, you can get a free evaluation of your current mortgage situation by calling Buford Lending, 843-524-2404. Talk with Benji and his well-established veteran team. Find out your current situation and if you can do better. Just think about that. Benji's just asking for an opportunity to even tell you about your current mortgage situation. What's it going to hurt? 5-10-minute phone call? Who knows how much money you could save or put back into your pocket and then be able to use on a great summer vacation or maybe that house project you've been thinking about doing. Call Buford Lending today, 843-524-2404. And if you're a first-time home buyer, Benji Getsy and his experienced team are ready to help you make that dream a reality of owning that brand new home. So you've been thinking about purchasing a home, you're just not sure how to go about doing it or what interest rate you can get. Call Benji Getsy today, 843-524-2404. Visit them on the web, Buford.mortgage. Call Benji Getsy and Buford Lending today. Give them a chance to be your broker.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And we've gotten the earlier accidents cleared. So right now, no accidents and no slowdowns to speak of, she said. And weather-wise, we should see this rain clearing out around lunchtime or so. And then we'll have a mix of clouds and sun and a high today of just 65, 67 tomorrow. But right now, some scattered rain across the Midlands, and it's 57 at 107.5 The Game.
Hey Midlands, Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. With spring right around the corner, we're celebrating with some ice-worthy spring special. How about a mine half-carat total weight diamond stud earring for just $3.99? Or a 1-carat lab-grown diamond for just $14.99? Or if you're looking for something bigger, how about mine 1-carat total weight diamond studs for just $9.99? Want to celebrate your love? How about a 1-carat total weight 3-stone ring for just $29.99? Or a mine 2-carat total weight tennis bracelet for just $29.99?
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
After being almost $500,000 in tax debt, I was listening to the radio one day and heard a ad for John Ecton Law Firm. So I gave him a call and met with him, and he gave me the confidence to trust him after the reason behind my tax problems anyways was trusting someone I probably should have never trusted. He did everything he said he was going to do, and then some. His staff at the office were great, very knowledgeable. With John's help, I have no tax debt now, and I was able to have a family that otherwise I would have never been able to have.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Hey Midland, Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. With spring right around the corner, we're celebrating with some price-worthy spring specials. How about a mined half-carat total weight diamond stud earring for just $3.99? Or a 1-carat lab-grown diamond for just $14.99? Or, if you're looking for something bigger, how about mined 1-carat total weight diamond studs for just $9.99? Want to celebrate your love? How about a 1-carat total weight 3-stone ring for just $29.99? Or a mined 2-carat total weight tennis bracelet for just $29.99? And we've got hundreds of items for $99 or less that'll let you express your style or your affection for someone special. And for all you ladies out there with March birthdays, we've got aquamarines on sale at 20% off, only at Traditions Fine Jewelers. Now with 2 locations to serve you, Sunset Boulevard in Lexington or at Sand Hill Center in front of the fountain. Traditions Fine Jewelers, where the Midlands get engaged.
In 1896, you wanted to get your stuff from point A to point B? It could take months as you braved the elements with your caravan of horse-drawn carriages. Many lives were lost and goods perished along the way. Aren't you glad it's not 1896?
Schroeder's Towing is here and ready to haul whatever you got to wherever it needs to go. We've got trucks in every conceivable size ready to work for you. Heavy equipment, buses, campers, coaches, forklifts, we do it all. Online at schroederstowing.com. Schroeder's Towing, the best hookers and now haulers in town.
Circle up, team. We've got status.
Evelyn's marketing consultancy client roster is skyrocketing.
Okay, so this week is a biggie. We've got the pitch and 3 client meetings.
She needs another analyst before her team's free time plummets.
Who's running the competitive analysis on fruit snacks?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
Don't let the mess of April showers keep you from maintaining a clean home. Call the pros at Zerorez. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109 plus a free hallway. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$7:42 on a Monday morning, April the 18th. You're heading back to school. RL and Robin on our Buford Lending live stream, they were both heading back. I know my good buddy Russ is heading back this morning. He's probably already in school teaching up the kids. So a lot for us as we close out. Really, this is it. We pretty much close out spring and we start to head to summer. That's it for spring, right? At the end of the day, that's pretty much how it works around South Carolina. You get the nice 2-3 weeks of spring, and then we go into the 95-degree heat with about 100% humidity. So that is just around the corner. But
it's cold right now, isn't it?
Nah, it was 60 degrees. It's rainy. It's nasty outside. It is
55 in Columbia.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was 60 this morning, but yeah, it's
cold here.
It's Patrick up in Maryland. I'm in the studio. Jen and I in the studio. So yeah, it's but we're closing it out here, closing out the month of April here the next few days, move into the month of May. Birthday number 40 coming up for me 2 weeks from tomorrow. That should be a good time. Birthday number 10 for my son Austin coming up on Wednesday. So at least in the Gunner household, things will stay fairly busy over the next few weeks. But we've talked a lot about South Carolina this morning. The Gamecocks, obviously, spring game over the weekend. Your takeaways, your thoughts, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. Anonymous texter weighing in, or maybe his name is Cheney. I don't know. We got a new text message system. Same thing, but some of the names have been deleted. I believe this is Cheney saying, I'm sold on Rattler, wide receiver depth and defense. That O-line was like an abusive relationship. They came back, but will they let us down again? Time will tell, but I'm feeling a lucky 9+ win season. Patrick, the offensive line is now going to be the focal point of the offseason, right? Like, we can talk about Marcus Satterfield and the play calling and everything, but it's going to be on Greg Atkins and this offensive line. There's experience there, but this isn't going to be a young offensive line. You have pretty much everybody back on your offensive line. This group, they don't have to be top 4 in the league, but they've got to be, 7? They've got to be the middle of the pack, right? 7, 6?
They just honestly have to not be terrible. That's honestly how I feel about them. Like, do we expect them to be incredible in the run game? No. But then also we saw things like that Florida game where they just ran the same play all day long and just ran it into the ground against Florida. And they've shown that they can do it at times. I think just be consistently not bad. Like, just don't ever be terrible, and South Carolina will be okay. Hold up in pass protection for a couple seconds. Like, just don't get beat right off the line. Eliminate the mental errors. I think if we see games that South Carolina loses and it appears the offensive line isn't playing great and they're just getting straight up beat, I mean, we can kind of live with that. It's just what drove us crazy last year was the mental errors and 2 guys blocking 1 while someone runs behind them, and just it was really mind-numbing and confusing. So if those mistakes are cleaned up this year, I think just by default they'll be better. But please just don't be awful.
The motto of South Carolina fans: please just don't be awful.
Don't be awful.
They've got to be better than don't be awful. It's a weird situation, right? To me, it's a weird situation in trying to balance expectation, but also acknowledge there are some playmakers there. Marshawn Lloyd and Juju McDowell. Marshawn Lloyd on Saturday night looked pretty good in certain instances. I think he's still got to continue to develop and come back. It's another big summer for him. Juju McDowell, I think it's fair to say, has proven that he can be I don't know if he's an every down running back in the SEC, but he's got a significant role, much like Jaheim Bell, where I don't know what Jaheim Bell is. I don't know if he's a wide receiver. I don't know if he's big enough to be necessarily a true tight end. We've seen him take handoffs. Both guys are the Swiss Army knife kind of guys. You could put McDowell out in the slot and try and get him in some one-on-one situations or matched up in certain situations and take advantage of it. Bell's the same way. Josh Vann has now had proven production. Austin Stogner is going to arrive on campus with proven production. Spencer Rattler has proven production. These things, those 5 guys in particular, Patrick, you look at as college players and you say, yes, this isn't recruiting hype. This isn't us, hoping for the best. We've seen them do it and trying to fit them in with the rest of the SEC and say, okay, where do these guys fit in? Because it feels like there's a lot more there, and it kind of came quickly, right? Because the end of the Will Muschamp era last year at this time, we're like, man, I don't know who's going to play wide receiver. Can Luke Doty be an actual quarterback? I don't know what's going to happen at running back. Can Kevin Harris, back up what he just did? There was so many questions that I feel like now you're kind of looking at it, and we go through these wide receiving groups and this running back group, and it's a totally different conversation, right?
It is, and I don't know how that stacks up against the rest of the conference. I mean, you look at the top of the conference and Alabama's returning the Heisman winner, and they're going to always have weapons. But when you look at South Carolina's schedule, I don't know. When you look at their first SEC opponent in Arkansas, I don't really think Arkansas is returning much by way of wide receivers. I mean, Jaden Hazelwood, you can say, is proven, the transfer from Oklahoma as well. But Treylon Burks was the focal point of their offense. He was almost everything to that offense last year, and he's going to be gone. So it's not like South Carolina's the only one in this boat. And you mentioned the usages. I think Juju McDowell, he is a Swiss Army knife, but only because of his size. Like if he runs the ball really well, I think he's got good vision. I think he makes his cuts at the right time, and he actually can run through tackles, which is pretty amazing at his size. So as far as I'm concerned right now, the only knock on Juju McDowell as a player is the fact that he's small. Like that's literally it, because he plays the position really well.
Joe weighs in on the text line 803-404-6100, said this offense should be fun to watch this year. I was very impressed with Juice Wells and the transfer running back from Wake Forest. Beamer is doing an outstanding job. Go Gamecocks. We'll continue getting to your thoughts. We'll play some more audio and get to baseball a little and some other things from the weekend. Reggie Anderson picked another winner, and
really,
listen, off air. You can ask Jen. I went in and kind of accused Jen and Reggie of being in what is it?
Cahoots?
Cahoots. Yes, cahoots. Cahoots.
Just because somebody else is winning, there must be some nefarious activity going on.
How many years of the picks contest is this?
This is the fourth.
So
Yeah.
Reggie's been sandbagging for 2 or 3 years,
Exactly.
trying to get
Like-
everyone, lulling everyone to sleep.
Yeah, if Jen or Carrie were picking winners, I'd be like, okay, I get it. That happens. I've seen it happen in the past. Something nefarious is happening right now in our picks contest, and Reggie Anderson is picking them correctly. He barely knows how to pick out his own clothes, let alone a driver that is going to win 3 days from the time he's got to send in a pick. Something nefarious is going on. We'll get to the bottom of that. We'll continue on. Kyle Busch takes down Tyler Reddick. My pick, of course. That's the other part.
Yeah, but and
my dude finished second.
Yeah, but the thing is, Tyler he was running well, but he wasn't like in contention to win before we started to have a rain delay and things like that. So he kind of lucked into being up, even though he was running okay and probably could have gotten up there. It's not like your guy was winning the race, and it was the kind of the luck of how the weather came and everything like that. So had he won, it wasn't like, oh man, you did a masterful pick. It was how racing goes.
Hope weighs in on our Buford Lending live stream and says, Reggie figured out your strategy, Bill. You are no longer at the top. Cahoots, I tell you.
Yeah.
Jen and Carrie and Reggie are all in cahoots, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Game Time.
Hey, it's Heath. We will recap everything that went down with the spring football game for South Carolina. What were your takeaways? Plenty of chances for you to react. We also, of course, will hear from Mark Kingston coming out of a big baseball weekend. We will see you at 3 on Monday.
Game Time with Heath Klein, 3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Of course, I know you care about my schedule. That's really why you listen each and every morning, not for great South Carolina sports information, but to hear exactly what I've got going on the next few weekends, like Austin soccer tournament in Charleston next weekend, another soccer tournament the following weekend, and then Mother's Day the weekend after that. Then maybe I'll finally take a vacation. All that leads me to needing great nights of sleep, because along with dealing with Jennifer and Patrick and apparently Reggie Anderson each and every morning, I've got to deal with regular life scenarios as well. That's why I put that sleep number setting on 45, and I am ready to go, ready to deal with each and everything, each and every day, all because of a Sleep Number bed. You can do the same. Why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? Because every great day starts the night before. Right now, save $1,000 on Sleep Number's most popular smart bed, the i8 360 smart bed. You don't want to miss this one. It is an absolute fantastic bed, and it's only for a limited time at a Sleep Number store. 2 to choose from, one in Irmo and Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Again, save $1,000 on Sleep Number's most popular smart bed, the i8 360 smart bed, but only for a limited time at a Sleep Number store. So make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Things have been kind of sloppy out there this morning, and that does continue. We have an accident at Zinker Road at Industrial Drive. Also, you can find a tie-up Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road. Your forecast? This rain should be clearing out after lunch today. Looking for a high of 65. Kind of a cooler overnight. 45 here overnight low. Tomorrow, sunny, but a high of only 67. 57 right now. We still have that scattered rain across the Midlands. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Troy University. Troy University announces a tuition freeze for undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral programs while continuing the clear cost plan, which also reduces fees. Learn more at troy.edu/lead change.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service, Guy Gant's company. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. The Gant girls, you know, Chelsea and Madison. You know some of the things they do at Pioneer Tree Service? Tree and shrub removal, tree pruning and thinning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. For the most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust, and that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service.
803-794-8253. Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Call Pioneer Tree Service for a free quote.
Since 1964, Gateway Supply has been the Midland's leader in plumbing and HVAC supply. And now, of course, they are statewide with more than 15 locations all across South Carolina. Their showrooms are filled with bath and kitchen fixtures from classic to modern styles. Now, tap and touchless faucets. You can even talk to your kitchen sink. See them at Hamrick Street near the fairgrounds in Williams-Brice, or Highway 6 and Whiteford Way in Lexington. Design services, expert advice for customers and contractors alike. Visit them online at gatewaysupply.net.
Life matters. Missionary David Lee and I, along with some mutual friends, have been traveling together since I was a teenager. David's a great father figure who does a fantastic job of seeing to it that all the details on these missionary trips are taken care of. Even in tough places, he makes the going easier by his careful planning and thoughtfulness toward all the members of the team. David is in stark contrast to one trip organizer I worked with. We went into a third world country with no provision for safe water or food. We were thrown into a hostile setting with no translator. Transportation was a disaster, and everyone on the trip was sick. Some spent time in the hospital. I learned something that week. I learned the journey never takes care of itself. You need a guide when you're walking in the unfamiliar. Since God has promised to give guidance to those who ask, why not join us at Christian Life as we make Christ our life guide? This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Remember, life matters, and so do you.
Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The Early Game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
The Early Game, 107.5
The Game.
Obviously, talking a lot about spring game and South Carolina baseball over the weekend. We haven't gotten a ton into South Carolina baseball, but obviously those were the two big storylines of the weekend. Patrick, NFL playoffs got going. Did you get much into the playoffs?
NBA playoffs.
I'm sorry, NBA. Yeah, NFL would be great, but that's not happening right now. NBA playoffs got going. Did you get a chance to get into that much this weekend?
A little bit. I'll be more into it as this week goes on, but I did get kind of into that Nets-Celtics game. Kyrie just completely instigating in the crowd, throwing up the double birds behind his head. That was, I don't know what his deal is. He's a weird dude.
He's a weird dude. Yeah, it's I don't know. I will admit I know we won't bore a ton of y'all with NBA talk next few weeks, but I do enjoy the NBA playoffs, and I'll start to get into those more tonight. Watched the Braves a little bit last night as well. The Heritage was great. Heritage was absolutely fantastic. Thank you to Benji Getsy for taking care of a lot of our staff down there. We'll get more into spring game. Hour number 3 is up next. Early game, 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Yes.
Outspoken
Finally, Bill
Bicycles
isn't
can
winning everything. It's good.
and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles, wheels, frames, parts, clothing, and shoes, and receive instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days are April 21st through the 23rd, exclusively at Outspoken Bicycles on 3223 Divine Street. See Outspoken Bicycles on Facebook and Instagram for details. Don't let this opportunity pass you by.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can
I'm
be
bringing the Nerf gun. I'm
Use
ready
the
to
symptom
go.
checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system
nothing but
feels
knowledge,
sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge for a coupon and daily support? Sign up at Metamucil.com today.
Whether it's a bad kick, nagging back pain, or a hip that has you hobbling, nothing matters more than getting you back to feeling your best. As South Carolina's most preferred orthopedic provider and official team doctors for the Gamecocks and Tigers, Prisma Health provides all the care you need. With more expertise, more technology, and more locations closer to you, we're doing even more to help you be your healthiest you. Prisma Health, the orthopedic experts.
Tax season comes and goes, but foundation and crawl space problems only continue to get worse. If your home has cracked bricks or drywall, doors or windows that stick, uneven floors, or musty, moldy smells coming from that nasty crawl space, Mount Valley Foundation Services will provide a free inspection and estimate to fix it before it gets worse.
Interesting donut knowledge. All that now I do look to see what the NBA schedule is for tonight. Now that I've brought it up, so let's see tonight.
Expertise and a lot of patience.
6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Tonight is Toronto and Philadelphia, Utah, Dallas, and Denver, Golden State. Tomorrow morning on the early game, plus whatever. There's your NBA schedule.
I bring nothing but knowledge, expertise, and a lot of patience.
6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
There's actually a Major League Baseball game.
Right here for 107.5 The Game.
A Major League Baseball game at 11:10 this morning. The Red Sox and the Twins. I can get on board with some Major League Baseball at 11:10 on each and every morning. And the Braves take on the Dodgers tonight too. I'm assuming the Braves ended up losing last night. Yep, 2-1. Yu Darvish was really good. I want to talk about that too. The Ozzie Albies interview during the game where they mic him up.
It's nothing short of hazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
Somebody on the live stream said that I'm just being a jerk to Jen and I'm hazing her. So.
And the thing is, I appreciate, she must not listen to the show that often, and I do appreciate that. He's a jerk all the time, so it's not like this is new.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
It's odd how winners get classified as jerks. I am with you.
Oh my God. You can't stop yourself.
It is strange how that happens.
107.5 The Game.
It's time for your chance to win $100 and qualify for the $25,000 grand prize. Just text the following national keyword to 95819. Your national keyword to text is
change. 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 The word change.
Text that national keyword to 95819. Standard text messaging rates may apply. Please don't text and drive. The $25K cash grab on 107.5 The Game.
8:02 on a Monday morning, a rainy, nasty, disgusting Monday morning here in Columbia. As I look back over my left shoulder to Gervais Street, person walking out there with an umbrella, but they look happy, Jen. I was kind of bouncing around, seemed very happy.
Seem very happy. Just again, like you said, just kind of had to have that umbrella.
Singing in the rain a little bit, kind
Oh
of.
my gosh, we could go outside and perform that. That'd be so fun.
Well, Patrick's not here tomorrow.
That'd be great live stream content.
It would be. I think
Yes.
that'd be fantastic.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Phenomenal.
And I actually have the cutest umbrella that you didn't care, but it
No, I don't. You're right.
it you open it up kind of reverse so that it doesn't just drip all over everything. It's pretty, or closes up.
Okay, so there's that. There's that. It's a nasty morning here in Columbia, but Jen's got her specialty umbrella that she is getting to and from the car with, so that
Usually
makes
it's in
her
the car.
happy today. A lot of you happy probably with the spring game performance of South Carolina over the weekend. Brad weighing in. He says, I thought Marshawn Lloyd looked very good, and he had to run behind the second team offensive line. Patrick opening up the program. He was impressed with Marshawn Lloyd. Let's hear a little bit of what Shane Beamer had to say on Marshawn Lloyd Saturday night following the spring game. Here is Shane Beamer on Marshawn Lloyd.
You know, what can you say just about his mental toughness, trying to come back from that injury, and how pleased does that make you feel, especially heading into fall camp now?
Yeah, really fired up about him and the spring that he's had. Obviously, highly recruited coming out of high school. 2020 gets injured. He may tell you that he was healthy and 100% last year. I don't think so. I mean, he to me never looked like the Marshawn, 100% Marshawn. But this spring, he's been on a. I've said it before to you guys. He's been on a mission and very purposeful about the way that he's worked since he came back in January. And I think he looks faster. I think he looks more explosive. We're continuing to emphasize to him what a load he is and how hard he is to tackle. And continuing to get north-south and run through people as well. But he's worked on his route running. He's worked on his pass catching. Thought he's had a really good spring. And he was out there tonight, the way we broke up the teams, he was out there with that second team offensive line. But, he wouldn't never complain. He just went out there and just ran the football. That was good to see.
Shane Beamer on Marshawn Lloyd from his performance on Saturday night and this past spring as well. Lloyd ended up with 8 carries for 40 yards on Saturday night, but there was a highlight play, Patrick, that caught your attention, caught a lot of people's attention. R.J. Roderick got into the backfield, looked like he had Marshawn Lloyd dead to rights, was going to be about a 4-yard loss, but it was the spin move. The juke move got upfield, got north-south, and picked up just a couple yards off of it. It's not like he broke it for a 60 or 70-yard run.
It was a third down, though.
Or was it third down? But it showed the the highlights that people saw when Lloyd was coming to South Carolina when he committed. That was the kind of play that people saw and got them excited about him initially. And I think Lloyd is just like the rest of the team. Saturday night did nothing to convince me that this team's now going to win 8 or 9 games. To me, it's still possibly a 7-5 team given the schedule. But the bottom line is, if you can take some of those performances from Saturday night and improve upon them in the month of May and the summer workouts in June and July, and you work on them in August when fall camp rolls around, maybe you do raise the ceiling a little bit against teams like a Missouri, a trip to Kentucky, a trip to Arkansas. Maybe you do like those games a little bit more. I think the 3 that we look at, Patrick, that we talked about, at Arkansas, at Kentucky, and Tennessee, as I sit here on April 18th, I'm not sure South Carolina's favored in any of those 3 games. But your next 3 months, your next 4 months are the months you use to get ready for those games.
Yeah, well, that's the funny part about talking about this is because if you say I saw this in the spring game and that indicates to me that this is going to be our record now, well, I didn't watch the Tennessee spring game. I didn't watch the Missouri spring game. I don't know anything that's going on right there. Like as we get later into the summer, I will throw those games on. I'll look at their rosters and how they've changed. But as of right now, we almost look at every team as what they were last year. Like we look at Tennessee and we say, okay, well, this is the Tennessee team we played last year. Hendon Hooker's back. So they're pretty much going to be the same. And that's a good football team. So yeah, South Carolina will probably not be favored in that game. And we just don't know. We don't know how things are going in Florida right now. They have a new coach and a sort of new quarterback, even though he was there last year. He wasn't their every game starter. So we don't really know what's happening there. Texas A&M, we read the headlines and #1 recruiting class of all time, but we don't know what this year's team is going to look like. So it's just, there's so much that goes into it. All we can really focus on is what South Carolina is doing. And you feel like this roster, you feel like it's deep, and you just feel like there's not a tremendous amount of holes on the roster. Normally, you can point to one position and say, well, they're going to have to cover up for the mistakes here. Maybe the defensive line can cover up for the fact that we've got a hole right there at the safety spot in the secondary, and that has been the case for our last couple of years. But right now, I don't look at the roster and say, okay, well, you know what? Everything else better be good because this position is really, really poor. The offensive line is the position of concern, but it's experienced, relatively deep because no one's standing out. So it's not necessarily that depth is a good thing there, but that's probably the number one position. And even then, you feel like you know what you're getting at least.
Shane Beamer, in what Patrick just talking about, Shane Beamer kind of addressed that. The difference in this particular spring game as opposed to last year 2. Here's what Shane Beamer had to say regarding Saturday night and how it was different than a year ago.
Probably just being able to develop depth. Last year, we've talked about it before. I mean, last year, our second team corner, second team defensive back was a walk-on that we had brought out in a walk-on tryout 2 months earlier that played receiver when he got here. So we just didn't have any depth on defense. And we got down there to the very last drive tonight, and those guys that were in there, a lot of them are guys that are going to be playing on Saturdays for us this fall. So the biggest thing is just being able to develop the what your starting group can be, just being able to really get some quality work with backups and develop depth. And when we came out of last spring, we had a general idea, but there was also a lot of guys that we were going to be adding. Carlins Patel, for example, that didn't even go through spring practice that we knew were coming, but we didn't get a chance to see in the spring. So it's like night and day from that standpoint.
Shane Beamer again, Saturday night post-spring game, the Garnet team, 20-13 victory, whatever that means, over the black team, basically the Spencer Rattlers team with a 20-13 victory over the Luke Doty's team. But Patrick, you hear one thing there, I think it's indirectly what Beamer is talking about, but you hear him talk about the defense. And we've talked a lot about the offense this morning, Spencer Rattler. We've talked a lot about Marshawn Lloyd and the wide receivers. When you flip the script to the defense, Craig on the Buford Lending live stream says Sherrod Green looked great. It is interesting because I feel like we all went in with the mindset on Saturday night of, we want to see the offense do big things. We want to see them throw it all over the field and long touchdown plays to Josh Van, to Juice Wells. We want to see all this big stuff, long touchdown runs. I will be interested. Clayton White seems like a rising star in the business. I think he maxed out that defense last year, and now he's got another year of experience with certain guys. It's going to be interesting to see Birch and Strawn and what they can do and the continued development of the defensive backfield. But what did you take away from the defense, or were you able to take away anything from the defense on Saturday night?
I was actually thinking about that while I was watching it because you just lock into the play and you're just watching the offense. And I'm like, man, I don't even know what secondary group was out there for this play. Who's covered so-and-so? I tried to focus on Cam Smith when he was out there because he's the guy that's gotten probably the most hype and the most buzz. But I'd watch Cam Smith and then I'd watch the defensive line and try and see what pairings were out there. And every time the guy that flashes for me is Zach Pickens. I just think he's due for a big year. And I try to watch the pass rushers a little bit and seeing Terrell Dawkins. I mean, he's a big dude. He looks fairly comfortable out there. He made some plays later in the game, and Jordan Birch just going sideline to sideline. You see the athleticism is still there, but I mean, I do agree on the Sherrod Green. I think he's actually going to be an underrated, important piece of this defense. Having that experience there in a position where you really do need it. Like everybody wants the 4.4 speed at middle linebacker and the guy that can just track sideline to sideline, but more important than that is just a guy that can be the quarterback of your defense. And when you have that type of experience there, I think it's going to be really important, especially when you're going to be throwing out some youth at the defensive line. There's a lot of young interior defensive linemen. You've got a new group of secondary players, and it's important to have that quarterback of the defense. And I do think Sherrod Green's going to be able to kind of fill that role.
This will be interesting. Slightly from a physical standpoint, Brad Johnson is still trying to transition from the buck defensive end kind of position here to
the stand-up
linebacker. When the season starts, Brad Johnson's birthday is August 11th, 1999. Patrick, how old are you?
26.
Brad Johnson will be 3 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Okay, Brad Johnson will be he's what, because if I'm right, that's right. He's 23 right now. Am I right on that? Is that 99? If he was born in 99 and it's 2022, he is
he will be 23.
he will be 23 in the month of August. Sherrod Green, both of them came in 2017. All right, both of them came in 2017. Sherrod Green, I believe, and I'm going to confirm this real quick, is 24. Yeah. June 4th. He will be 24 when the season starts. Your starting linebackers will be 24 and 23 years old. There's got to be starting linebacker tandems in the NFL, Patrick, that you can find that will be younger than the starting linebackers for South Carolina.
Ernest Jones is 22 and he's got a ring now. He's already played his rookie year, got a ring.
I mean, we talk about, and people know this, you've played sports and you've watched the development of kids from being 18-year-olds to 22-year-olds, the physical strength and the size and everything you get. Sherrod Green will be 24 years of age on June 4th of this year. Brad Johnson will be 23. And then behind them, so you've got two guys who have basically 6 years of experience, 12 years of college experience between the two of them. 12 years of college experience between the two of them. And then behind them, Mo Cobble was named Defensive Player of the Spring, which I think is very interesting. Debo Williams is still a kid that I'm glad people stepped up last year. He wasn't ready, but he has flashed at times, and he's got to continue to improve. But that's a guy that they really seem to be very high on. Donovan Westmoreland, a true freshman who enrolled early, is a guy that they seem to really like and think has some potential down the line. The linebacking group, and then you bring in Stone Blanton. Here, who will be a part of the program when we get to August. I think people come out of the spring feeling a little bit better about the linebackers. Does that seem fair? Do you come out of the spring saying, okay, linebacker play should take a step forward in 2022?
I think it absolutely should. I think all of the evidence is there too. I mean, the 12 years of college experience, there you go. And I've been looking up young linebackers. Devin White has been in the league for 4 years now. He has Super Bowl. He's been in a second team All-Pro, Pro Bowl, and he's 24.
Yeah.
He's the same age. He's the same age as Sherrod Green.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if these guys, if South Carolina's defense isn't on the same page, if they don't know where to go, if he is the guy that the signal caller or the guy that's telling everybody where to go, he has got so much experience. I mean, he was at South Carolina before some of these guys on the team had entered high school. Like he was a starting linebacker at South Carolina, or a sophomore linebacker at South Carolina before Braden Davis had gotten to high school.
Yeah, now you've got me looking up to see.
I mean, he for sure has.
Now you've got me looking up to see Donovan Westmoreland, a true freshman. A true freshman. Let's see if he'll tell me his birthday here on his. That is not telling me his birthday on the on the Gamecocks Online website, but it is. And and again, in all seriousness, you talk about experience, and look, I do think there is something for keeping some continuity on that defensive staff. And I know you lose Mike Peterson, who was really good, but you bring in Sterling Lucas. But Clayton White being back, second-year defensive coordinator. And again, there were times last year where obviously that defense got blown up. Tennessee and Texas A&M in particular come to mind. Stopping the run at times was a major issue for South Carolina last year. It's not like this defense went out and played over their head, but there was improvement. And I think this year, given a second year in the system, and again, guys coming back, you get Green back. The athleticism maybe is a little bit better this year. We'll see. You lose. I'm guessing you agree with me. Who's the bigger loss, Patrick? Jalen Foster or JJ Enagbare? JJ Enagbare is going to the NFL. Jalen Foster, maybe you'll get a cup of tea in the NFL. But in terms of college players, in terms of being,
Foster.
Is it Jalen Foster?
I think so.
Why?
I feel better about who you're replacing Enagbare with, and I think Foster at the back end of the defense, keeping things organized, saved South Carolina a lot of times from potential big plays and things that we might not have even noticed. So maybe they can't get after the quarterback as well as they did last year with the loss of Enagbare, but I'm more concerned about the the communication in the back end, because not getting a sack on one play isn't as potentially disastrous as a mistake or a lapse in communication in the secondary.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning if you want to weigh in. Or, as always, you can go to our youtube.com page. Go to youtube.com, search 107.5 The Game for our live stream that goes on each and every morning. I believe Patrick is already planning ahead to some kind of small NFL draft breakdown. We will get to that as we go through the week. The NFL draft next week, a week from Thursday, when we will really get into some NFL draft coverage. So maybe Patrick will have some videos up on our live stream where you can go and check. And anything you've ever missed on the program or anything we talk about and you want to go back and watch, you can just go to youtube.com, search, click, subscribe to our YouTube page. Also, you can always check us out on Facebook. We're on the Facebook Live as well. Go to the 107.5 The Game Facebook page, and you can see our video right there, and you can jump on and click and join. You can give us the little hearts, the little thumbs up, whatever it is that you can do on Facebook, and be a part of the program that way. We'll continue talking about South Carolina spring game. We'll get into a little bit of the weekend that was as well. Certainly a pretty fun weekend for sports. The RBC Heritage, absolutely phenomenal down in Hilton Head, and South Carolina baseball takes 2 of 3 from Mississippi. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay, Terry, and Tommy.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
All right. Well, you got through Easter. Maybe you had all of the family come over. They just brought the dirt and the mud and everything into your house. They don't bother taking their shoes off when they show up at the front door. They just trample right on in, and now your carpets, your rugs, your towel, your upholstery, well, they all look insanely dirty. And you're thinking about, oh, I need to get this cleaned. And you're thinking, I'm really not in the mood to do that myself. That means it's time to call Zero Res. That's right. That's who I rely on to keep my rugs, my towel, my upholstery insanely clean. And right now, if you give Zero Res a call, 803-262-4020, and you schedule today, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. So you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or you can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, it is the patented ZR water technology that'll keep your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all insanely clean. And coming off of an Easter weekend, which you likely had people over to your house to enjoy a nice Easter ham or maybe one of those great casseroles you like to fix. However, the family members, they spilled it on the rug, the towel, the carpets. They messed up your upholstery. Today is the day to call Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, how hard is that? Just remember Bill Gunner and 107.5 The Game. You'll get a hallway clean for free. 803-262-4020 or book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And we've been working a few earlier accidents this morning. But tie-ups that were still working include Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road, also Zenker Road at Industrial Parkway. And we do have a report of an accident Broad River Road at Cease Road. Your forecast, this rain should be clearing out after lunchtime, around 1 or so today. And then be looking for a high of about 65, 67 tomorrow, up to 70 on Wednesday. No rain, at least for the next few days. Right now, though, we have that scattered rain, and it's 58 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Mika Zibanejad. The New York Rangers All-Star Center might be overshadowed a little bit by Chris Kreider's 50-goal campaign and Artemi Panarin's 90-point season to date. But the quiet Swede and off-ice music producer, by the way, is enjoying a career-best season with a career-high 77 points for my beloved Broadway Blue Shirts. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 7730 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 7730. Enjoy.
Sponsored by Renew Energy Solutions. Everywhere you go, things are just getting more expensive. Let Renew Energy Solutions take one bill off your plate when you go solar. This month, we'll cover your power bills until 2023. Visit RENUEnergysolutions.com. Smart, reliable solar.
Outspoken Bicycles invites you to spring clean and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles, wheels, frames, parts, clothing, and shoes and receive instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days are April 21st through the 23rd, exclusively at Outspoken Bicycles on 3223 Divine Street. See Outspoken Bicycles on Facebook and Instagram for details.
Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Hey, Mike, what are you doing way up on that ladder? You're going to hurt yourself.
Oh, I'm trying to unclog these gutters.
That's smart. I had water damage from my gutters last year. It cost me $10,000.
Wait, $10,000?
Yeah, and from over here, it looks like water's been pouring over your clogged gutters, and it's probably doing real damage to your foundation. You need to do what I did. Get off the ladder and call Leaf Filter.
Yeah, but I need to get these gutters flowing now.
That's why you need to call Leaf Filter. They'll clean and realign your gutters and install their exclusive micro mesh screen system so nothing gets in your gutters except water.
So Leaf Filter protects my house from damage and means no more gutter cleaning for me?
Bingo! Plus, Leaf Filter has an industry-leading lifetime warranty, so your gutters are covered for life.
Thanks, Frank. I'm calling Leaf Filter today.
Don't go another day with your home unprotected. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com right now for an extra 15% savings. Call 1-844-300-LEAF or go to tryleaffilter.com. That's 1-844-300-LEAF.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Hey, it's Heath. I'm here with Jacob Crowder, who we all know affectionately as the Mortgage Guru. Jacob's in his second decade advertising here on 107.5 The Game. He's helped hundreds of 107.5 listeners. It's time he helps you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to help the 107.5 faithful. With the new year, people are focusing on housing needs. If you are looking to purchase a new home, I would love to help you. Call me, 803-719-1005, or you can email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
With a fresh start in the new year, I bet people are looking to save money right now.
You are right. Rates are still very low, and people are lowering their rates and consolidating debts. Rates are so low.
Let's see what Kenyon. I don't think Travion Kenyon's listed as being that big there. Kenyon is, well, he's 6'4", 245. That ain't a small boy, that's for sure. But he's turning into a solid player. Turning into a very solid player.
By providing affordable, reliable, and honest auto repair. But if you ask them, they'll tell you it's their loyal customers who come back time and time again to entrust them with their car repairs. Well-trained technicians, service packages, and monthly
certainly could be. Salcro's got. I don't know. It's gonna be a fight. I can already see the next few months to not overhype the team, to stay on, because there are some nice pieces there. Schedule just seems very daunting.
Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop the train. Sponsored by Traininfo.com.
All right.
Of Chevrolet.
$8:27 on a Monday morning, April the 18th. As you would expect, most of the discussion this morning has centered around South Carolina's 2022 spring game. A 20-13 victory for the Garnet team. Again, whatever that means. More importantly, we've been looking at some of the stats, talking offense and defense. Spencer Rattler finishing 8 of 10 on Saturday night for 79 yards. Luke Doty. I think, I had high hopes for Spencer Rattler, Patrick, but I think Luke Doty showed some improvement. And I think that's the big thing for him this year. That's going to be the key word for me here. Somebody asked again, is there anything that I saw personally? And I think you agreed with me. Anything that I saw personally on Saturday night that maybe changed my opinion of South Carolina football in 2022 from maybe where I was sitting on Friday morning as we were preparing you for the spring game? And no, but I think the key thing here is improvement. Marshawn Lloyd has got to make improvement from what I saw to be a very good player on Saturday night. And he's got to take steps forward in June, July, and August. And Luke Doty, you're hoping doesn't have to play a lot this year, Patrick. But if this season it goes according to form, if it goes to what everybody wants, Spencer Rattler has this great year. Thanks, South Carolina. Thanks, Shane Beamer delivers a really nice bowl trophy and is selected in the top 10, the top 15 of the 2023 NFL draft. And we go back to looking at Luke Doty as the potential starting quarterback in 2023. So Luke Doty, 7 of 10 on Saturday night, 85 yards and a touchdown. Kind of looked a little bit more comfortable, looked better than I'd seen him.
I thought he did look comfortable. I mean, he's always had the physical ability, and we did see him kind of break the pocket a couple times and attempt to maybe use his legs to move the chains, which we didn't see much of last year. I think that was kind of a complaint, was that maybe the athleticism was overrated a little bit, and I don't think that's the case. I think he's more comfortable running on it now. He threw the ball well, and yeah, you're just looking forward to the next couple of years. I mean, he can still give you several quality years as a starting quarterback. And if Spencer Rattler plays this year, maybe Luke can sit and watch and learn some things from him, and he comes back a year from today and he's the starting quarterback heading into the summer because Spencer Rattler's off to the NFL. He'll be older, he'll have more command. I mean, that's kind of been the issue for him, or the biggest thing that he needs to learn is just playing the quarterback position, because he played multiple positions in high school. He came to South Carolina, wasn't going to be the quarterback right away, so Muschamp had him playing wide receiver, and he's just been going back and forth. It's the same story with DeCarrion Joyner, just having to go back and forth and keep learning different things and never getting the chance to get comfortable. Last year, as soon as Luke feels like he got comfortable, he gets hurt. So it's been a rough couple years for him trying to get steadied and all that stuff. But if he can have this year, watch Rattler be fully healthy, get himself completely comfortable with the offense, the position, everything like that, then you could actually be pretty excited about what he could offer you going forward.
I don't think it's just Luke Doty. I think you're talking about Colton Gauthier, who I thought did some nice things, obviously threw that one interception, but Braden Davis, Tanner Bailey will be on campus come the summer. Spencer Rattler certainly will be the guy. And here's what he had to say as it pertains to the quarterback room for South Carolina, how he views it.
One of the best quarterback rooms I've ever been in. I mean, it's, great guys, real top quality guys, supportive. We all support each other. All of us have unique qualities to our game, and I think we all can learn a little bit from each other. But as you said, what my role is, having some experience, having some success in college, I feel like I can come in here, and I've taught these guys a lot, just kind of led by example, and like you said, Luke's experience as well. He helped me when I came in with a few little things when I was up here. But yeah, we really just work with each other and enjoy our time together. So those are my guys, though.
That's what Spencer Rattler had to say in regards to the quarterback room, and certainly something that Patrick, you're right. We are all hoping for the season to go as expected. Spencer Rattler has that great year, and those wide receivers we talked about, Wells and Van and Brown and Leggett and the tight ends, they all step up. But there has to be a little bit of an eye toward the future as well. This can't be a one-year deal. I thought about it, and I'm going to pose the question to you, but I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole yet, because I want to continue to work on my question to you here. Some of what Shane Beamer, the allure of hiring Shane Beamer as your head coach is not just 2022, okay, he's been able to do this. It's that he wants to stay here, right? This is his dream job. There's no other job out there that Shane Beamer wants. This is it. This is the one. And I started thinking about that. If I could offer you a 10-2 season with Spencer Rattler, a good season, or or maybe
Really
maybe
good season.
make it 10-3. Let's say 10-3, 9-3 in the regular season. You go and you win a great ball game, and Rattler takes off to the pros, but then you've got to replace him. And I don't know what 2023 looks like. Or if I said, hey, Shane Beamer can really set the foundation with an 8-win season and a 9-win season, but Rattler's around for both of them. So you don't get that massive double-digit win season, but Rattler's around to really help with 2 years of recruiting, to really sell your program for 2 years. In 1 year, you win 8. This year, you go 8-5. Next year, you go 9-4. So you don't get that 10-win season, but then he takes off. But you feel like your program, the foundation is completely set because Spencer Rattler is a big name. Spencer, on College Game Day on September 3rd, and really for the month of August, I should say, Spencer Rattler is going to draw a lot of attention. There's going to be segments on him. There's going to be talk about him. Like South Carolina's going to get a lot of publicity because of that player. Would you take 2 good seasons, or do you want the one great season and just hope that the foundation is set? I'm trying to think of how to word it to make it a little bit more interesting, and maybe people can understand where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, the most important thing I feel like is chasing the elite quarterback play, chasing the high-end quarterback play, and I guess the answer to that question kind of depends on what you feel about Luke Doty. Like, do you think that if you can build a 10-win season this year, Spencer Rattler's gone, can Luke Doty take that momentum and keep pushing it forward? Because if he came back the next year and didn't play well, well, then all that momentum is basically gone, and people would just say it was an aberration. It was, well, you had a great quarterback for 1 year and this and that. But I don't know, maybe 2 years of Spencer Rattler, you get better recruits, and another like elite quarterback says, oh, wow, look, you can win at South Carolina. I'm going to consider going there and this and that. I don't know. That is a hard question. But also, 10-win seasons don't come around very often. I think I would just take the 10-win season no matter what.
See, I think and we'll go maybe down that path as we get closer to the summer. Just a thought, because there is a level of this program still has to, and I think Shane Beamer is setting, but still has to build that foundation to where, you're right. I thought about that as I was over the weekend. Like, okay, if you have one great season with Spencer Rattler of 10 wins, everybody's going to go, well, that was Spencer Rattler. He did all that, and then he's off to the pros. And I don't think it necessarily pertains to, okay, do you think Luke Doty's the next guy? You might have watched Saturday night and said, man, I really like Braden Davis and what he was able to do in limited time. And he's only had 15 practices. He's only had 15 practices. Who knows? Dylan Longerin was on campus on Saturday night. He's the big-time quarterback right now out of the state of Georgia that South Carolina is chasing. Maybe you think, oh, that's the guy. We got to get that guy in. You look ahead, Jaden Bradford, who is from right down the street at Chapin, but is transferred to IMG and is a 2024 recruit. I know they've also got the young man from up north, Dante Reno, who has been around a good bit and is a 4-star quarterback. There's a level of, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be Luke Doty, but if Spencer Rattler can give you 2 years, maybe that's something that you take into account, whereas one great year, but then you take the massive step back, or you take a step back. Does that make sense? And I'll formulate that question more as we go through the next few weeks to ask a better question than what I just threw out there then.
Isn't that most schools outside of the elite tier, though? Like, everything builds up for one great season. Like, you build the roster for a couple years, and then, all right, we got a senior quarterback. We're ready to go. This is our year to really just go for broke. I mean, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, those teams are going to contend every year. But even like LSU to an extent, who's always a good team, double-digit seasons all the time, like they go through down years and they need a quarterback. Like, it's always dependent on the quarterback. When you have the signal caller, you can kind of just make the big jump. I mean, Texas A&M has been incredible for years, had incredible rosters, but just Kellen Mond was not enough to get them over the top for those last few years, and the quarterback position's been an issue. So I don't know. I feel like you have to always maintain your roster and the talent level to the point where if you get the elite signal caller, you can go for broke in that 1 year. So that's kind of what South Carolina's been doing. They feel like the roster is good enough that the quarterback position elevates the team in just such a different way than every other position on the field that now you go for it. If you can get 10 wins out of this season, you absolutely take that. And if Spencer Rattler leaves after it, you say, okay, whatever. You don't get this opportunity very often.
803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning. Shane Beamer yesterday talking about new players on pregame, new players that were participating, and I want to get to some of those, especially one on defense. Here's what Shane Beamer had to say yesterday on new players on the pregame.
You know, all the players certainly were talking about the walk when we got into the locker room once we got over here. 2001, I mean, I can tell you what the reaction was with 2001. I mean, they love it. I mean, if as many times as you stand in that tunnel and hear 2001 played and run out, that will never get old and still gives me chills every time that I'm a part of it. And then to be able to come onto the field and have such a large contingent of former players down there in the end zone for our players to go down to and connect with, that was pretty cool as well. So I know we had great reactions from that standpoint.
One of those new players, Patrick, is on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that this is going to be a guy that we have not even mentioned this morning, but certainly a guy that could play a very large role on this team is Terrell Dawkins, the defensive end transfer from North Carolina State. He comes in and is a guy who has, again, proven college production, and on Saturday night, he finishes as one of the top tacklers on the Garnet team. He had 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, also had a sack. I believe that was the sack that came on Luke Doty as well, and he had 2.5 tackles for loss. Terrell Dawkins is a guy that we're not going to talk much about because maybe he's a little bit behind the scenes when you talk about Strawn and Birch, but I thought Terrell Dawkins flashed a little bit on Saturday night as a guy that you talk about adding depth at that end position and being able to get to the quarterback. Looks like a guy that you might like a lot coming into this program and being able to get better under the tutelage of Sterling Lucas and Clayton White.
I would agree. I mean, I think you want a 3-man rotation, and I'm looking at the roster, and it says Dawkins is lighter than Jordan Strawn. Is that true? You think?
Yeah,
he's was just rocked up. I mean, Terrell Dawkins is yoked.
Yeah,
I think maybe that's just what it is. Whenever somebody's jacked like that, it looks like they're a little bit heavier. But he's just I mean, he's a really, really exciting prospect, and 3-man rotation, that's really all you need. Like, these guys can play every down, and if Birch is more reliable as the run defender because his size, then you keep him in nearly every snap. He should be well conditioned enough to play nearly every snap of a game, at least if you're playing well, not if they're these long extended drives. But then you have Strawn and Dawkins ready to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. And I just like the different types of different styles of pass rusher. I like having the big physical athlete in Birch on one side, and then the speedy guys that can really get a good jump and burst through that tackle on the other side. I like that combination. I think Dawkins will find himself with some games where he kind of is the breakout guy. Like, as much as running back we say is a feed the hot hand, I think pass rushing can be that too. If there's a game where Dawkins just getting the tackle, he's going to be left out there, and sometimes defensive end figure something out against a tackle, and they just kind of have that thing, and their style just works better. So he's definitely going to have a big role in this team. It's not just going to be Birch and Strawn are the talking points because they played last year, but Dawkins is gonna carve out a nice role for himself this year.
I never know how to take it when your safety is your leading tackler for the game, but another freshman on Saturday night that at least showed some ability and led the whole team. They're both sides with 6 tackles was Texas safety Peyton Williams, the true freshman, transfers in from Heath, Texas. Certainly was a guy that maybe wasn't as highly thought of, 6 foot, 200 pounds. But he leads the team in tackles with 6 on Saturday night, Patrick. And again, you hear Shane Beamer talking about these new players. And I will say, some of you are asking, you're asking about the attendance. Again, the announced attendance for the spring game, I think, was just over 20,000. I think it was 20,186, somewhere in that ballpark. I was there in person. I would have estimated much, much, much closer to 35,000. I think that they took some turnstiles that were being used and kind of used that as the number. I'm not real sure where the disconnect was there. The lower bowl was basically full, and from talking with people, that should put it over 30,000 fans, give or take a few, going up the sides or a little bit. Obviously, the Executive Club and Champions Club were a little full, and I believe the Horseshoe Club on the other side had people in it as well. So, Patrick, about 30 to 35,000 fans is what we estimate that was there. And the Gamecock Walk, if you've seen the videos that were put out from that, these first-year players, South Carolina fans they didn't give them 80,000, but they gave them a pretty good environment to become accustomed to what South Carolina football can be.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have watched that and not been excited about the atmosphere. I mean, they walked through the pregame festivities. You got to do your Gamecock Walk. You got to see the 2001. You got to hear Sandstorm, and you would feel the crowd. I mean, it was enough that you could feel their presence and their excitement when there was touchdowns and things like that. So if your goal was to make a big, strong recruiting visit out of this, I don't know what more you actually could have wanted. Maybe you wanted Darius Rucker there. Maybe you wanted Zeb Nolan throwing a pass, because that was my prediction. But I don't know what else really could have gone wrong. I don't know. It's hard to say that it was anything but a success. I don't know. I was just waiting for that one piece of flair, that one thing that was maybe just kind of like a jokey or hacky little bit, but it never came. Darius Rucker was playing at a wedding on Saturday night for Mike Golick's daughter and some player on the Bears. So
okay,
I did catch that. That's why he wasn't in Columbia.
Gotcha.
He was in Scottsdale.
Speaking of fans on Saturday night, Spencer Rattler, his first experience with South Carolina fans. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Yeah, it was like nonstop. I mean, you look left and right, fans everywhere. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. And then Coach Satterfield said, look at that, times that by 5 or 50. That's what it's going to be like during the season. So I could only imagine what it's going to be like.
That's what Spencer Rattler had to say Saturday night afterwards. It was a really good showing. South Carolina fans definitely turned out in force. And again, give a lot of credit to the marketing department, to the South Carolina athletics department. They did a good job on Saturday. Baseball does their part. They rally, and I should say rally. They hold on. They hold on for dear life, Patrick. 9-8.
I followed just on the Twitter account. I wasn't watching the rubber match, but I saw Ole Miss scores 4 in the 9th to tie it up. And I was like, oh no. Here we go.
South Carolina holds on for dear life and gets a victory. That led to a very good big Gamecock weekend as the spring game goes off without a hitch. Very good attendance, very good, solid performance on the field, a nice little fireworks show afterwards. All of it, a very solid weekend wrapped up with hopefully a great Easter day for you and your family. We'll finish up this program, our family, right here. You can join us, 803-404-6100. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
I saw some of you out there running around Saturday, you adults, tailgating, throwing the football with the kids, getting involved in a little pickup football. I saw you out there. I also saw some of you sitting around looking all sad that you couldn't participate. You've been suffering from joint pain. You got issues with your back, and you didn't want the 9-year-old running over you. Totally understood. Don't allow that to continue to happen. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. Take some action now. Get a free consultation. Powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologic agents are here. Give them a phone call. 803-281-6860. I'm sure you've heard Emmitt Smith. You know that guy. He played a little football in his time. He's been raving about QC Kinetics. Maybe you've heard some other people talking about it, and you're ready to give it a try. Find out for yourself. 803-281-6860. Again, you can get a free consultation. Don't go through another summer with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. 803-281-6860. Again, is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here in Columbia to this modern-day joint pain solution. 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today and get that free consultation.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still working an earlier accident, Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road. Also, we have a report of a tie-up on Branch Road at Lick Creek Court. And an accident, Highway 12, that would be Percival Road, at Clemson Road. So be cautious in that area. Your forecast for today, the rain is to be clearing out later on, maybe like 1 o'clock this afternoon or so. Then we're looking for a high today of 65. 67 tomorrow under mostly sunny skies. But again, some scattered rain off and on, and it's kind of holding steady at about 56 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by eBay Motors.
Ray Magliozzi here. I'd like to carry more parts, but I barely have room to think in my garage. Luckily, eBay Motors has all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. Can't imagine stocking that many parts. Where would I get all those shelves? eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Outspoken Bicycles invites you to spring clean and earn instant store credit. It's Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days at Outspoken Bicycles. Come into the Divine Street location of Outspoken Bicycles and trade in your used bicycles.
Relax in the afternoon, but if you have a dirty pool,
instant store credit. Columbia Bicycle Trade-In Days are
time to
April
call
20.
Corley Pool Solutions. Flat.
I'm with you, Chad. 10-win seasons are they're just rare. It's a throwback now. I'm back in Maryland for the first time since they've changed the name. So I actually went into the Dick's Sporting Goods right down the street here to look at all the Commanders gear. Couldn't bring myself to buy any. I've told myself that I'm not going to buy any Commanders gear. I was also looking for the Cherry Blossom Nationals jerseys, and I didn't see them in the store. Yeah, I love the jersey. We were talking about that on the way to brunch yesterday, how everything DC related always has to try and incorporate the monuments. So it was nice to see something go away from just the monuments and the White House or whatever generic DC things.
$356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State Twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
It's time for our Spring Sweet Bids auction. Make your life a lot sweeter by coming to our station's website beginning April 21st. You'll be able to bid on delightful items and services from wonderful local businesses, ranging from furniture to home improvement services to recreational items and services, and so much more. All at incredible discounted prices. And you won't even have to move from your spot. The Spring Sweet Bids auction begins April 21st at our station website, where it's a short drive on your hard drive with no parking issues.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
1075 The Game.
8:52 on a Monday morning, April the 18th, as we wrap up the early game portion of the 107.5 The Game schedule. We will have a busy week in front of us. We'll catch up with a lot of former players throughout the week. I saw Perry Orth was there, Sherrod Golightly, several other players that we've had on our program trying to go and hang out. South Carolina did a good job, Patrick, with alumni, getting them back. Saw Debo Samuel, Mike Davis, obviously DJ. Huh?
Ernest Jones.
Ernest Jones. Yep, he was out there hanging out. So, again, kudos to all the way around. Shane Beamer, the athletic department. At times we've been critical of the athletic department, but I thought the marketing team, Eric Nichols and his team, they did an absolutely phenomenal job really promoting the whole weekend and then doing a good job with getting the spring game off. And it was well attended. Again, those of you wondering, I thought we were in the neighborhood of 30 to 35,000 people there. It'll certainly create some buzz and some excitement going into the offseason. But we'll catch up with some former players that were there throughout the week and talk with them. And we'll start getting you ready again, Patrick. A week from Thursday is your Christmas Eve with the NFL draft taking place. Nothing over the weekend that altered your thinking on the top 10 or any substantial NFL news that you think changes the projection of how this draft could end up going?
Nothing crazy. I mean, I listen to podcasts on double speed. So I was listening to probably 17 to 18 hours of draft content on my drive up from South Carolina to Maryland. Listen to a lot of interviews with people, and I'm going back and forth on some of my mock draft picks. So no, I don't think anything's completely changed. It's just the perception of the quarterback class and the teams that are going to be willing to just go for broke and take a risk on a quarterback they're not in love with. And those are going to be the storylines heading into round one.
After our show ended on Friday, some big news, some interesting news regarding a former Gamecock. The Indianapolis Colts giving Stephon Gilmore a 2-year, $23 million contract, Patrick, that included a $14 million guarantee part. Solid money for Gilmore, the one-time NFL Player of the Year. I mean, your take on Gilmore getting $23 million, $14 million guaranteed from the Colts?
Well, he deserves it. And it was just unfortunate how the market was shaping up, and it seemed like not a lot of teams had the money to spend on him. The Colts had more than anybody. The Colts had the most money in the NFL. They're paying a boatload to Matt Ryan, but they still had money to play with. And this is what they do. They spend their money carefully. They pick and choose their spots, and they spend on guys that they know are going to contribute. So Stephon Gilmore is going to be great in that secondary. They love the long physical corners, and that's what he's always been. They have Kenny Moore there in the slot, and he'll play opposite. I don't really know who's going to be the other outside corner, but they got that long linebacking group headed by Darius Leonard. They signed Yannick Ngakoue. Kwity Paye is going to be in the second year, so they have a good little pass rushing tandem. Colts are a good team. That's just going to be how far can Matt Ryan take them. But Gilmore's going to be a stud. Always is.
A lot to get into as we go through the week, including a thorough investigation into Reggie Anderson's NASCAR picks. A thorough investigation. I will get to the bottom of how Reggie Anderson has now picked 3 correct drivers
probably
this
just
year.
being able to develop depth.
That's right, Shane Beamer. We will find out what's going on with Reggie Anderson and his all of a sudden in-depth knowledge of NASCAR. We've got you covered. 21-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow. Patrick, enjoy the day off.
1075 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
That was professional, Bill.
That was professional. You like how it was a perfect way to do it?
Life gives you lemons.
Do what?
So when life gives you lemons.
That's right. You make lemon cookies. Stay dry. I agree, Jerry. Everybody have a great day.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yep. I will see everybody on Wednesday. I'm driving back
tomorrow. I got taking the girlfriend to the airport at I think 4:30 in the morning tomorrow. So everybody have a good one.